This one's going to be a little bit special. I am not playing the game this time. They're playing the game this time. Yeah, they're playing the game, which is weird. I thought that was weird, but I want to see how this plays out. Hello?
Help. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey,
So
how you doing?
Doing good. If you would like to introduce yourself to chat and talk about who you are and what you do.
Well, sure. Thank you so much for having us, first of all.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
Kendall. I'm the game director for Shape Protocol. It's a fancy title for pretty much I run a team of 5 people that pretty much we're all doing our best to try to get this out there. So just to explain real quick, because I've been listening, and thank you so much for what you're doing with um, Indiecember. It's kind of awesome. I'd had asked you and had asked your team to see if we could participate, given that we're so early. We're really early. So we don't have like something that if I handed it over, you could kind of mess with it and it won't bug out. So I kind of know it a little bit
Totally
better. It's
fair.
like my own little child. But it's really like I'm hoping to have like a good, really dev conversation, and interrupt me at all times, and I'll show you real kind of what we're making, and I'll also
Yeah,
show you prototyping and stuff that maybe other games haven't been able to show because they're further along. So I'm going to show the real broken, like, this is game dev from the other side. If you guys are cool with that,
no, that's
happy to have that.
everyone wants that. Trust me. Like we've got a lot of
Awesome.
devs in the community. People are super into that kind of thing here, and we love seeing broken stuff. Either if I'm finding the broken stuff or you're showing it off. Either way is fantastic.
For sure. So I'm gonna apologize for now immediately, because we're definitely gonna have something broken, and I might have to lose some little things here and there. But I've practiced it enough to get it done. But we literally pushed a build 4 minutes ago with like saying, okay, this is like, let's do our best. So I'm very excited to be here for sure. So let's see what happens. But hopefully
Four
you guys
minutes
can
ago.
forgive a little bit of the chaos. It'll be okay.
4 minutes ago. Final for real this time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hope for the best. My dev is probably sitting there, like, looking at the stream, like, oh my freaking god. It's okay. It'll be fine. Yeah, I will share my screen. So I was thinking, if you don't mind, and if you want to, it doesn't really matter. I could just go straight into the game. But like the trailer that we just pushed out is a good. It's like a minute, and it kind of shows a
Sure.
good representation of what's going on.
Tried to do it in 440p. There we go. I know, right, Mirror? Yeah, dude. Moment I saw that effect, I was like, yo. Yeah, this looks fantastic. The moment I saw you guys had submitted up, I was like, hey, this is freaking rad. Like, we definitely have to have them on.
Yeah.
This game looks amazing. You guys are doing something really cool. The split mechanic blew me away. Like, absolutely blew me
Yeah.
away.
It's such a good story. So I sent you the first trailer. We could show it later if you want to, because that has more Portal stuff that we didn't get a lot of chance to put on this one. We could do that later, because I want to have a conversation. But
Sure.
the story real quick on how we got to this, and this might be good to everyone that's kind of trying to make their own thing. We were. I'll tell you a little later, like, how we got to even making a game. But I'm in this situation where I have some prototype of the game, and I show it to these guys. Their studio's called Navigante. They made a game called Greek Memories of Azure, which is just a spectacularly beautiful game. And I met with them, just like trying to network with people, and I'm having a conversation with them, and they're like a brother and sister. and they're talking to me, and she's like so lovely and adorable, and he is like a very pragmatic dude. So we're talking, and she's like, "Oh, this looks so great," and whatnot. And he goes, "What's your hook? Like, why do people want to play your game?" And I'm like, "Well, we have all these like important choices." And he's like, "Sure, but if I took a picture of your game right now and I put it on the
Mhm.
box of a cassette or cartridge or whatever, what would people understand that your game's about? Like, what choice do you see in a still image?" And that obliterated me. So we spent 2 days deving up some ideas of what to do, and we have two big ideas. One we haven't shown yet, which is crazier than this, and then the other one was like, let's split the world in half. And my dev
Yeah.
said, we can't do this. And I was like, but what if we can? And he's like, no, I mean, there's no functional way to do that. There's viewports and there's this, the physics of the whatever. And he's going all like hard on me, and I'm like, well, but what if we could? we spent
Yep.
we spent 2 days like going at it, and slowly he's like turning his the wheels, and he's so smart. So he's like, well, what if we think about it like moving platforms? It's like, oh, there we go. Let's figure it out. And they're like, well, that doesn't work. What if we think about it through shaders? That doesn't work. And in 2 days we had it. And
That's
it's one of the most
fantastic.
wonderful processes I've ever seen. So I'm going to show you for you. I don't want to keep talking without showing you. So I'm going to load up the game and show you. But yeah,
Before
I
you
just wanted to
do,
tell you that it is my idea, but it definitely stinks because other devs have given us great feedback for sure. Go ahead.
not a
You were
worry at
saying
all.
something?
Before you do, the ads are about to start. And Chad is very
Oh,
excited to
I'm
see
so
what your
excited.
Bezos looks like.
If it
It's going
doesn't
to be
show
cut
up
off.
well, I can show it.
It'll be cut off on the right side, but it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
It has
If
begun.
not, I can show it later.
It's phenomenal. It's actually amazing. Look at it
Oh
go.
my God, I'm so
Look at the
happy.
Bezos. So
Yeah.
good.
When we
It's
when
so
we knew
good.
that we got invited, my one of my artists, his name is Durrani. I want to just give him credit. He is the lead artist for Ember Knights, and he also
Oh,
worked on Gestalt and a couple other games. He's a great artist. And he told me like, oh, we could do something with the Bezos, and I'm like, well, that could work.
that's
Let's see. What
so
do you have in
great,
mind?
dude. No, it's
I thought he
super
was gonna
fantastic.
like make a different Bezos, and that was it. And I don't know, or sends me this GIF. I'm so excited,
It's so
but
good.
it's
Like
beautiful.
the moment I got that, like Chronos and everybody, I was like, holy shit. Like it's
Yeah, it's so
oh, it's
cool.
so good.
Oh, but
You
yeah.
guys
Feel
make
free to use
amazing
it
stuff.
whenever. I appreciate it. It's pretty
I mean,
cool.
I'll
And
tell
we
you
can
one
make
thing
you a
when
new one if you don't want to brand it.
no, when I play your guys' game on stream, I'll use this Bezos and I'll just
That's
extend the
cool.
ground or something because that's fantastic, dude. Welcome to live production, chat. Doing everything live is terrifying. I think that's one thing about streaming that's just always so funny to me is live production is just a wild thing. Just let me know when you're ending your broadcast because otherwise it'll show our whole conversation, which is hilarious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So I will probably I'll let you know because so I'll tell you a little bit of the plan, and you tell me if this works, and we
sure.
can adapt it, kind of do it
Okay.
live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys right now the pretty much the broken state of the game, just gonna what we're working on right now for our Kickstarter demo. So a lot of
Mhm.
it's gonna be just mostly, not everything makes a lot of sense, but it's good enough that we'll understand what's going on. I'll show you most of the in-game traversal stuff that we have. Of course, there's a lot of stuff in the trailers that I'm not gonna show off because I want you guys to experience it in the demo, which is coming out hopefully soon, early next year. Then I'm gonna walk out of this demo, and I'm gonna go to another demo that we just made very recently in Game Maker, which is only for combat. It's only gonna be like a demonstration of the combat we're hoping for, because we could fast prototype over there much faster.
That's awesome.
And then I'll show you maybe a little bit of kind of like what the future is, and we can have like a conversation about like the design philosophy, which is very weird. And hopefully you guys like that. So
That sounds
if
great.
that works, yeah, we could go through that. I can sort of see the chat, so it's pretty delayed. So if there's any questions, Thor, interrupt me. Like this is not
I
like a
totally
full
will.
demo. Just interrupt me whenever. All right, so this is Shape Protocol. I am like beyond excited to be here. This is like a dream come true. I never thought, this is my child. I can't explain to you how much I love this thing, and I'm just, so proud to be here, showing it off, even if it's a little broken state. So here we are inside. We're skipping all the story. All of that's gone. So we're just seeing a little bit of the movement here. So I'm going to show you little Zura here. This is our main character. A lot of things that we've done in the time that we've put. We started deving this Thor. You might not really believe me here, but sometime late January of this year is when we started everything you're about to see. So
Really?
in less than a year, we've put quite a lot of work. Godot is spectacular for this kind of work. So I'm very proud
Yeah,
of what we're
that's
doing.
very fast, dude.
Yeah, a little too fast maybe, but I'm proud of the team. People are kind of working mad hours and hyper excited about it. But you can feel the what is it, the ownership in the team. So I'm very happy with that. But I'm not
How
going
many
to
people
yap
do
too
you
much. I
have?
want to show you.
How
Oh,
many
go
people do
ahead.
you have working on this actually?
So right now we have 5 people total. It's me and 4 others, but it fluctuates. I don't want to pretend that we're like super small team. It's fluctuated all the way to like about 7 people, like a person that does a little bit of marketing and a
So
person
like
that does
contracting.
yeah, but a core team, there's 5 of us. So we have a composer, an animator, I don't count myself because I'm literally just the internet dad of these guys. I can't do anything. I just help them out and come up with the ideas, and they just deal with the problems. So counting the team would be a composer, 2 animators, 1 background artist, and a programmer. That's it.
Cool.
And then I'm here just like kind of rallying the troops and doing the marketing when I can. So that's about it.
Music is great. Yeah.
I appreciate it. So before I start yapping here, this is kind of like, you see that little street over there? It's kind of like a little homage to like a Mega Man game, but it's okay. So I'm
I
gonna
love the
go over here
parallax
and
on that
show
too.
you
It's
guys.
quite nice.
I'll show you what you guys kind of want to see before I take too much time here yapping about the game. So in this scene that you're seeing right now, it's a beautiful city inside a robot. There's a little bit of this Shadow of the Colossus vibe, and that trailer that you saw, this gigantic robot, we're inside of it right now in the first area of the game, and we have a lot of work to do in backgrounds and whatnot. It's very pretty. But starting the game, you're faced with this one problem, right? There's a hole, and there's a ledge, and you want to get to the other side of the ledge. And I'll show you a couple of things that you can do. You can get there with a double jump. You might not have that right now, right? We do this for plants and things like that. But if you want to get over there, you could do this, right? You could just jump. Something else you could do. Later in the game, when you get it, you have this instruments. Like the shield is meant to represent a piano. That's what it sounds like. That you have a spear and a bunch of other things. But this spear specifically, you can throw it, and then you can jump on it. So that's another solution to this one problem, right? Of course, there's other things you could do with the spear, which I'm not sure if this is going to work, so I don't want to try. I'll try it in another room. You're able to hang from below it and do a bunch of stuff. So that's another way you can get here. But also, I mean, this is really important to me that people can solve the problems however they want to. So another one is like, maybe you want to use a portal because you just don't like the spear, so you could do this. And then you can kind of go back, So that's another way of solving the problem. And then, of course, there are a couple of things we haven't shown. But to prevent that, we'll show you like what I think most of you might know us for, which is the violin katana, right? The waka. So this is a menu that you get, and you're able to move.
Didn't
this
realize it
thing
was
around.
a violin. That's fantastic.
You see, she's playing it. She's going a little too fast. I don't know why she's like, she needs to get off the Adderall. But we'll calm that down when we have a little bit more time.
It
But then you
gets
can do
polished
this,
out.
right? And you could do this, and you can make it over here, right? You could also, like over here, you could do something like this. You can orchestrate it like this, and just jump like that, right? You could also, if you have a different situation, you could do this, and bring this over here and go over here.
What
So
happens
it's
if
pretty
you
great.
cut it through yourself?
Nothing, because we are immune to it, but we made it so that we always go with the floor. So the floor will always kind of contain us and protect
Okay.
us from anything, but it doesn't hurt us. But it does, like little guys like these, if they're not aggressive, these are snacklets, we'll talk about them later. They're one of the best enemies we've designed. But these ones are neutral. And if we hit them and they get aggressive, then let me see if I can kill one so I can show you. So if I hit this one, and they come to us, something we could do is we can tap the button instead, and it goes BAM! And kind of supposedly slash them, but I guess it didn't work. So first bug, but yes, you can cut them with the katana instantly. And it works with most enemies in the game, and it's just kind of a way of you constantly doing a combo, and in the middle of it, like choosing to like cut them in half. And you could cut enemies, projectiles, you can cut moving platforms, you can cut walls, you can cut a bunch of stuff. So lots of cutting. So we will show you a little bit more of that in a moment. Interrupt me whenever. I'm just going to keep
No, I
going
love
here,
this.
but I wanna show you
I'm
a
just
couple
kind of enthralled by it, man. Keep it up. This is cool.
I'm
I'm
gonna
just
show you
thinking of different
something-
ways to like solve that door there. Are there things that you can't cut?
There are definitely things that you can't cut. So the without getting into story, because I just get way too yappy
Sure.
when we go into story. There's this whole idea that we're in a world that is this is not I wouldn't call it a simulation, but imagine that underneath the smallest thing that exists in the universe, below the smartest particle, there's code. So this entire universe is made out of code, but it's real. And to us humans, it sounds like music. So the instruments are tools that let you alter the code of the universe, and it's pretty thematic. And there are things that, of course, are immune to this thing. And if you hit them with the katana, the world would like set itself back together and kind of say no, so the world can kind of defend itself from your power. And some bosses can, and some other things can. So it's definitely not like a end all be all. You're the most powerful thing in the universe. Definitely not the case. So many things can stop you from doing your things, but in most places we want you to feel great and be able to do a thing. So in here, I'll show you something real quick. Well, it's just mostly animation. It's nothing overly special, but with a spear, you throw the spear and you're able to, you're able to jump on it like I showed you before, but you're also able to go from below. And, we have bespoke animations for everything. We really care about like everything having a clear motion.
That looks fantastic, yeah.
And it kind of depends where you grab it. Like, if you grab it too front, you won't grab it. So you grab it, sometimes you grab it too far back, and it's used for many things. This is used for traversal, but this is also used for bosses. It's also used for things like, trying to set up combos that you might want to do. You might also use it for trying to get more momentum for things. Like, for example, if this guy decided to come a little forward, but he doesn't feel like it because, he knows I'm showing the game off. You could kind of do this, and then you could go like that into his face, and poor little thing, kind of fall down.
That's great.
Yeah, so you could do things like that, and that's kind of like a little bit of the theme. Make your own kind of combo and do what you do.
Can the spear be
so
used at different angles or only left, right?
So in terms of traversal, right now it's designed to go only in straight lines. However, we have this thing where you press the button, so whenever you tap the button, every button, it does something that it's meant to be a little bit more auto-target. And you'll see why when we get to the combat demo. We want you to like be able to feel incredibly cinematic without having to like be an evil player, Justin Wong here, trying to survive Daigo, punching his face. So you want to get this moment where you are very cinematic, but you also feel that the game is letting you do things that feel really great, and the distance between you and a very, very high skill player will be evident, but you will never feel like you're a low skill player. Zura's going to make you feel awesome at all times. That's the goal. So I guess answering the question, if you tap the spear, and we have some GIFs that show that, what happens is like she throws the spear at any target in the screen, and then you can teleport behind them. So then you can crash, and you'll see in the combat demo a little bit more of that. But it's pretty great. So I'm going to jump down here to show you a little bit of the rest of it. So in here, you'll see like destructible stuff and a little bit of the background, parallax and whatnot. But you can like hit things and they explode. That, took too much work for the outcome, but I'm very happy with it. You can hit enemies and they fall kind of more naturally. They let you get a little bit of money. And then here's an example of like, how do you get, to up there? So, there's many ways to do that. But in here, like a good way is using your portal, and you can go through. And you can go.
Can you throw a projectile through that portal? Like if you threw the spear
Yes. Right now in this build, it's deactivated on purpose because it loops sound. But the goal is you'll be able to throw your. Let's say there is at the very top, like right here where this light is. Let's say there's an enemy. You could throw your chakram, and then you could. It will work, but not now. You'll be able to throw your spear, and it'll go through the chakram, and it'll come through. And you'll be able to use that for many things, but also for bosses. If bosses are throwing like a beam to you, you'll be able to use that too. Exactly, which we showed in the first trailer. So yeah, when you guys see the first trailer a little later, you'll get a sense of that.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Actually, I don't think I've seen that other trailer that you were talking about. I saw the one that we already watched, but not the other one.
Oh, okay. So that trailer is a lot more like it's more hyped. There's a lot more energy to it. This one had a lot more story beats. So in that one we do like a big scene with the chakram where there's an enemy that's like a sniper and she's shooting at you this one shot laser. But then you throw your chakram, which makes her beam teleport and hit another enemy. When something goes to the portal, it's yours. So enemy projectiles become yours, right? So then you can use that against enemies through puzzles, a bunch of stuff. So you could do way cool stuff with that. Definitely, it's a nightmare to program, but it's very fun. So that's our core goal is that it's fun. So then you have like other little snacklets like this guy down here below me. And these are not nice. These are more aggressive. And we could try to show you a little bit of blocking. Like, for example, this is, by the way, this is something that I have to say out of pride. Zura, this main character of ours, has over 2,000 frames of hand-drawn pixel art animation. Everything she does is
everything's insanely smooth, and you can see all the detailing work in all of it, even in the animation transitions between the different movements, between the different weapons, everything. Like it's very apparent. It's funny because one of the examples that I give to the community all the time is, as odd as it is, you ever seen Pizza Tower?
I have not. No.
Pizza Tower is all. It's sketchy animation, but it's thousands and thousands of frames of animation for that character, for all the different transitions, for everything. And it just, immediately I was like, you guys went the extra mile on every transition, every movement. You can see all of it. The stopping animations, nothing pops, nothing's out of place. It's all very smooth. Looks phenomenal. It's a great job.
I mean, and that's like such a pride that we take. I mean, just for context, like I think like you could take a couple of Mega Man games, stitch them together, and you might get like to 1,000 frames of like animation. We are not even like 20% into the game, and I think like the only games that have more frames of animation in pixel art I think is like Blasphemous, because they have executions for every enemy. But we put a lot of effort into that, which doesn't necessarily reflect on the gameplay just yet, but it just makes it feel like you're playing a modern game, and we care about like finding a way to match both the retro player that really wants to see like games a little bit more on the old ways, but the player that is also looking for quality. So we said, can we do that? And it's working. So hopefully we were able to execute on it.
Yeah.
Then like this little guy here, I can't really show you too much with it because he definitely will get a little insane, but I can show you a little bit of blocking. So, if he hits me, like we block, but then he can hit me, and we can also, if it works, we can parry, but there you go. There's parrying the game, but it's not like hyper demanding because you always can dash through enemies to dodge your stuff. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. There you go, little gumptious guy here. But there's quite a lot you can do to defend yourself. You don't have to like parry if that's not the kind of game the gameplay that you like. But there are certain things that will tell you for sure, parry me, right? And if you use it, you'll get the benefit. If you want to find ways around it, you can. But then you have little guys here. This guy was our number one tester killer. That little blue dude over there. He'll shoot you one time and stun you, and then you wouldn't be able to move. Pretty great. And then you have like flying enemies that come around, and you're able to like jump on them and kind of crash on them. They're pretty simple, right? Nothing too crazy just yet.
Yeah.
But the one thing I wanted to tell.
I was actually wondering, how many people do you have working on the pixel art for this game?
So two artists doing all the characters and the main character. So all the enemies and whatnot, and one person in backgrounds. So we're a very tiny team for the scope of the game, for sure.
I was going to say it's a very large scope for that, and you've got it divided up quite well. Looks fantastic.
Yes, it's very dangerous. But hopefully the Kickstarter lets us bring in at least one programmer and at least one more pixel artist for a while. So that would help us a lot. Yeah. And there's also some things that we haven't shown yet, but it's part of our kind of Discord community. So these little guys, like you see them here, little snacklets, they're like a story component of the game, but the point is that they merge. So they're a big problem. They're so cute and little, but if you leave them alone and they see you, they will start merging with one another, and the combinations make bigger versions of themselves. So they look at you, and then you have the little tank one and the range one, so they make like a tanky range one, and then they merge with another one and another one. If you leave them alone, they'll become like a mini boss that will obliterate you.
Can you show an example of that, or?
I could show you once we're out of this. I could show you in the Discord we have like the table that shows how they combine.
Yeah.
We don't have like it coded right now because will require a new table of damage, and we didn't have the time to do that. But
Totally
yeah,
fair.
they definitely. I can show you like the combinations and how crazy it could get. It could get like an enemy as tall as the wolf boss that we have on the first trailer. It's ginormous. So you just don't want to let them do their thing. That's kind of part of our design. If you're going to have all these tools where you could do all these tricks, you need a game that challenges you accordingly. This is my favorite room because it lets me do stuff that I shouldn't do. My main developer, Ilya, hates when I go into this room because he knows exactly what's going to happen. So I'm going to show you some stuff in this room that I like. So we can be here, and there's a little gap over there. It's really not supposed to be there. There's a little things we tried to do with the chakram there, but it's not really going to work out. But when you get here, there's a lot of things you could do. And one of the things you could do, I mean, if you want to get up there, of course, you could use your chakram and go up there. You could do all that, right? But that's really not the coolest thing you could do here. If you wanted to get in there, like where I'm swinging, you'd have to come from below. There's just pretty much no other way of getting there. In most games, right? But in here, I mean, you could kind of go like that.
Yeah.
And then I am playing the game. But I am here active. I am playing. I can do stuff. This platform right here, I'm able to press down and jump. It works just like the environment moved. There's a lot of tile set magic and actual collision magic that we're doing, but it works just fine. And now I am here and I can go down there and do whatever I want to, but I could also get out. And I could come over here, and I can come over here, and I can close it.
So while you're in that mode, do those hitboxes on those like bounce objects work? Can you go and jump on those and hit them?
Not at this time. That's a very good question. We want certain things to be immune to the effects, so you can use them. We also regressed a little bit in the complexity because to that point we wanted, because I know pseudocode. I know enough of coding, and I've done enough coding in my life, but not like dev like this. So I have no way of like knowing the difficulty of what we're making. So of course you can imagine that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's insane to look at.
Right? Yeah.
It's
so
incredible.
I can come up with it.
Yeah.
My ignorance lets me come up with ridiculous things, and then my developers kind of lose their mind dealing with it. But
fair.
my goal was
that's a brilliant system. 100%.
Yeah. It works for sure. So our goal was to, like, for example, have this, the portal happen, not like that, of course, but you would be able to use the portal and then cut the world, and then use the portal while the world is cut, right? So it's very complicated.
That's going to get ridiculous real fast, yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to see if there's like ways to make that, like maybe we put like one of these little things, we make it so that the chakram sticks to it. So then it's a little bit more guided, and then you can use the cuts a little bit more logically. But it's definitely very difficult to think through the problems. Especially like if you're here and you can't get up there, like thinking that you could do something like this and that's enough for you to get up here. It's not always easy. So we're working on ways of making that easier without telling the player, hey Thor, you have to use your cut here. Here's yellow paint, right?
Yeah,
exactly. We don't necessarily want to do that.
I hate yellow paint, man. So I'm really glad to hear that. I think it's a really cool direction. I can audibly hear your programmers sweating as you talk, though. So I don't know what's happening.
I'm gonna make so many promises in this meeting that he's gonna hate me for. But that's okay. It's okay. It's
honestly though, I think this is fantastic. That's a brilliant feature. And if you guys didn't do that with fun shader magic, then I'm even more interested.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you a little bit without going too nerdy because it sounds like I understand it, but I don't, to be really honest. So we're doing. There is a shader that manipulates the we'll call it the visual world, right?
Yeah.
So in here, something's manipulating this, but you can see like we have this edges here where you don't see the world. Yeah. We're working on that right now because we do already have it solved. It's just this world that you see here was made before we solved that, where it won't do that anymore. It actually drags the real world, and you can walk away from this area. But what we did is so when we use this button, you get locked into this viewport. So this viewport right now is fully locked, and if you walk, like this, look at what I could do. Not nice, right? That can get real dangerous. Real quick.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, very weird. But of course, we have already solved for that conceptually. We just have to implement that in a way that people can see it a little better. But definitely, if I jump down that hole, we're gonna have a lot of fun. Well, I'm not doing that, but
because you just get out of bounds immediately. Yeah.
We'll get, and it might take me to another room or something like that. I'm happy to show you guys a little later and break it. It's not a problem, but my programmer's probably losing his mind. But what's happening visually, there is a shader that's moving things around, but we're gonna do away with that. It's gonna stop being a shader. We already have the code to make the actual tiles of the world, we call it the collision layer, move with us. And when it moves, we are retiling very, very quickly some of the things in the world. So programmatically, we're doing some crazy magic to put the floor where it's supposed to be as we're moving. So as you can see, like, we are moving. That's us moving. That's not like the character's still animating. So she's really moving, and everything will really move. But you can do crazy stuff like that, and then you can, if I try to grab that hook that's over there, I'm gonna go out of bounds of the viewport, so the world's gonna reset. And it's a completely cool thing because it looks like I can grab it while I'm in this effect, but I can't. It's just a visual trick. So look, I jump, and okay, she didn't do it because she wants to make me look like an idiot. That's okay, Zura. We'll deal with this later. But no, she doesn't feel like it. That's great. But conceptually, you'll be able to go up there and hook up to it. But yes, that's kind of like what we'll be able to do. So let me see. Then I will sheet myself into this room again and see if it works now. There you go. She's a little temperamental, but it's okay. I think it's too early for her. We haven't had breakfast.
Welcome to Dev. Yeah, I mean it's everybody here is used to that.
There we go.
That's fantastic.
It's so hard. You had to make me look bad on a freaking 4,000 people stream. And then we go up here. She gets up here. We go back to the world. So here's where we see a little bit of level design. If you got up from, and this is more like the Mega Man ideals of solve the problem, and then you go here and you see a chest, and it's like, but I want it. So you want to go around and grab it because this door you couldn't open otherwise. So that's pretty much like simple, but we're gonna have a lot of problems in level design for sure, because that's kind of like our main challenge for this game.
Because I was gonna say you could just cut your way through it. That's what I was thinking earlier. I was like, and when I saw the barricade, I was like, did you make that not cuttable? Because I could just get in there if that's the feature, right?
It's cuttable, but it isn't in a way, because the viewport won't let you go that low, but that's not a good way of solving the problem for sure. And when you cut it, sometimes you don't have enough space. And what we've done with barriers like this is we can just triplicate how big they are, and they just won't be able to cut through them. So we have like simple ways, but they're not the greatest ways to solve the problems. Some things like this is an example of like a breakable barrier. It's not animated, so I apologize for how bad it looks, but you can hit it with your axe, which I think I haven't shown, and you can break it. So here's like the axe combo. It's pretty great.
Oh,
but the axe has a... Oh, there we go.
The ads have begun. Bezos has arrived.
There you go. So let me go up here, share a little bit of diversity. So this is like a little bit of another biome with a lot of work on the background and things like that. This was original kind of a world cut place where we would start doing a bunch of cuts and go crazy. But we've made it more into like a little bit of a different biome just to showcase what we're doing, and caught a couple of enemies, kind of skipped them for a minute to kind of get through. We're able to go up here and see a bunch of other stuff. There's a bunch of enemies here that are about to smack me, and I think some of them are going to glitch out, but I'm going to try my best to smack them as best I can. So this is where we're supposed to show like our combat, and then some of them kind of, these are like tier 2, so these are combinations of two little guys, right? As an example of the snacklet kind of thing going on. And you can do a bunch of little combos. You can press various buttons, because just in case, all of the instruments in the game are buttons that you can press, so they're not like something you equip. So you have them all available at all times.
Fantastic.
So you can do spear, shield, you can do a bunch of stuff all back to back.
Okay.
This is my favorite.
No, I love that. Like that was one of the things I was wondering. I was like, are you swapping weapons? Is there like a load time for swapping weapons? But you've just made it into a fluid action. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's like, so right now you have your face buttons are 3 instruments. So they're your shield combo looks like this. Your spear combo. This is way too slow, but it'll get faster. And then you have your axe combo. So then you can combine them 3 into a Swiss motion by just pressing those buttons in sequence. So you could do like that. Oh, you could do like axe.
That's a great way to do it. So you can do the first, second, and third part of a combo with completely different weapons in any order that you want to. Cool.
And each one of them has a purpose. So like the spear is really, really good for dealing with shields. We'll talk about that later. And then the axe is really good with dealing with armor. So there are things in the game that you will be incentivized to use different instruments to solve, but because we don't want to force you to do something, uh, we don't want you to always say, oh, you see an enemy that has like this color, then you have to use this weapon. That feels like I'm just telling you how to play the game. We just
Yeah.
want you to like be able to do whatever you want, and then if you need to get one swing in, you could do that. However, we're going to see this in the combat example in a little bit. We came up, well, we didn't come up with that. I'm not going to pretend, but we made our own combat system that doesn't require all those buttons, that you could just use X for all of it. So I'm going to show you when we get to the combat example how we've created a new way of doing it that it's a lot simpler and it feels great. But in here right now, I am pressing X, Y, and B. So it's a lot of inputs. We try to make it so that you can do everything with X. So you'll see in a minute. I'm pretty excited about that. Hopefully you guys will like that. And it's very simple. It plays really well. So here's a simple example of like, kind of things actually working out. So you see that little guy over there. Let's say we're scared of him. Like he's just so mighty and scary, and we just don't want to deal with him. So of course, you would imagine that we should be able to just do this, right? And then we get in the world, and that's not what I'm supposed to do.
Ugh.
I practice this, Thor. I practice this.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you've already done this, so you can just get around. Is there a way to get through the game with only fighting bosses at that point? Then can you pacifist run this?
I really wish I had like a community of speedrunners. I haven't found like some of them yet that I could talk to because they're so busy. But if I could find like one that I could talk to and say like, help me, like help us figure out how to do some of this cool stuff in terms of design, not in terms of coding. We could figure that out, but we'd love to talk to like people that do weird stuff like that. But right now, of course, it probably won't be. You won't be able to dodge all the enemies. Like some of them, like don't like you to get away from them. That's an important thing. For example, we have a pogo in the game. There is an enemy that if you pogo on him, he gets real upset, and then he grabs you and throws you against the ground and says, "Don't do that to me." So some enemies have like if you throw a spear to like the sniper, she hides in the background and dodges it and then shoots you immediately. So enemies have like, we'll call it like I don't know, we're calling them behaviors, but to me it's like they just have like brat moments where they say like, don't do that. And
I'm trying to think
if
of
they
the
do
last
that,
time
and they don't
I
let
saw.
you.
I'm trying to think of the last time that I saw a character that like hit against the wall to dodge that kind of a thing, and it's going to go all the way back to like Blackthorn. Like I haven't really seen that mechanic used very often. That's awesome, man. I love that.
And especially that enemy, because that enemy is called the Death Letter. She's a sniper and she likes to be really far away from you. She's currently the smartest enemy in the game. She has 9 attacks. I don't know why I did this, but
because you're a monster, like
she is. But she can like if you get close to her, she dodges backwards. But if you try to dodge through her, which is your image, like you say, oh, it's a sniper. I gotta like do this, right? If you try to do that, she'll dash through you and shoot you in the back. Like so she just really doesn't like you getting close to her. And he has like a bunch of stuff that she could do. Of course, we're gonna tamper her down because we don't want people to get frustrated. But she's the kind of enemy that if you see her and 2 more enemies, you have to pick like, okay, I gotta maybe take care of the 2 enemies to deal with her.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen a Metroidvania give me that kind of like problem in a little while. There's many, but I want one that is this fast that gives me that sense of some enemies are very dangerous and some are popcorn for me to like enjoy my power.
I'm actually interested in what you said there. You don't want people to get too frustrated, so you kind of want to tune her down. Do you have any ideas behind having like a normal mode version of a boss and like an extra mode version of a boss, like a hard mode kind of a thing? Anything like that?
So I'm gonna. My community makes fun of me because I spoil everything. I can't. I'm too happy with this game, so I pull spoilers. So I'll give you one that I haven't shown anybody. This is like we've never talked about this one. But something that we're going to do, this whole idea of the shape protocol is like this, I want to call it a virus, but it is something. It is something that you get to know. It's this thing that is changing the code of reality. So the world is changing, and that's what you're going to see as the world changes because this thing is like a virus that infected the universe.
Yeah.
Imagine it like that. But it's definitely a little bit more complex than that. But it's, of course, also affecting enemies. And as it does, you might, whenever you defeat an enemy, the shade protocol might say like, I'm not done with you, and there might be like a shaded version of enemies.
Oh, okay, there we go. That's what I was wondering.
Things might get kind of complex, yeah. But there's also something that we want to do, which we call it it's called the harmonics system. I have to change the name because I like music, but people don't know what that is. But harmonics is the whenever you have
I
like
love that name.
a sound wave, it replicates itself. So the idea is that you'll be able to go to back to the hub, like where like call it your home base, where you have all your teammates and all this stuff, and you'll be able to go to this like imagine like this X-Men kind of training room where you can like not revive, but you can kind of bring the code back of those enemies and relive those battles. But when you do, you'll also be able to choose weird stuff that didn't happen. Because you can alter the code and say like, no, no, it didn't happen that way. It happened this way, and then you get to experience the boss. Maybe if you hit them with the axe, they counter, or maybe it doesn't let you use the spear. I don't know. You can make those choices for yourself. But it's more
That's
of
cool.
a fun thing. It's not mandatory. It's not like. But yes, there will be harder versions of the bosses that will be part of normal gameplay if you want to do them. In terms of difficulty for the game, right now we really think we could pull it off without like a normal, easy, or hard difficulty.
Cool.
But that's such a small problem compared to like figuring out how to not break the game with this thing that maybe we just maybe we just succumb and say let's put like normal, easy,
Yeah, I mean,
and that's not
personally,
really a
I'm
problem.
I'm I'm never really a big fan of normal, easy, medium, hard kind of stuff because it usually leads to monsters just being less squishy rather than more interesting challenges. If that makes sense, that's almost always the case. It's like, oh, just make them a bullet sponge.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
Thor, I want to
if
show
you
you
do it,
something.
if you
Oh,
do it
yeah,
any
go
other
ahead.
way, you gotta change all the monsters in the game or change distributions, and it's just it's a lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. We had some ideas that we wanted to do, like, some
Hmm.
way in order to make it so that enemies would maybe like have a percentage chance of spawning shaded. But then I felt like, speedrunners want deterministic stuff, and I mean, a game where you could cut the world, you really want to break it. So I want people to break the game. So I don't want to
Yeah,
make stuff non-deterministic, just to make my life easier. So we'll deal with the problem with the feedback of the community. Um, so there's something I
nice.
want to show you, Thor. This is pretty cool. And I won't end the demo right here, but because I'm gonna go to the combat thing. But this is pretty cool. So we have an area in the new biomes we're making where the world is taken over by this material, right? That's being taken over by Shape Protocol. It's just story, but some fauna and flora in the world is changing, and it's being affected by this metal that is kind of losing its mind to the protocol. So we're not talking like Horizon Zero Dawn, but there is like some metal enemies, and there's trees that are made out of metal and circuits and stuff like that because the world's changing. So we
Okay.
made one. Because this is the first time we're getting like an actual 2-hour interview, and it means a lot to us. So we made one like just for your
You know,
community.
we can just go longer than 2 hours. Like we can go as
Look at
long
this
as you
little
want on
guy.
this. Oh my.
This
Oh,
is
that's so
Ferretech.
cool.
he Ferretech is a ferret to celebrate, of course. This is but it's gonna be in the game for real. So he's a little bit of a problem dude. I love him.
They're
He
all
has a
little
little
problem
backpack
dudes.
on his back. Whenever you destroy other enemies, he will come. He'll get excited and he'll come and grab the little lithium rocks from the floor and try to run away. Of course, you could defeat him, but right now we made him immune, so he could get hit, but you can't kill him.
Don't
He's
hit him.
immune. So, when you hit him, his little money comes out. So we might make him like fully immune. He just steals the little things, and when you hit him, like the gold comes out. But that's it. It's just a love letter to what you
Oh,
guys are doing. We don't have any need. I mean, we have 70,000 wish lists right now. We don't have any need to like placate anyone. We're just doing it because we really think you guys are doing something great, and we appreciate
thank you.
it.
That's
So,
super nice of you, man. That's freaking
yeah.
rad. That's so cute.
So that's our little guy right there. I'll leave him alone. He
So
has other
mean.
animations. Yeah.
That's so
He
cool,
has other
man.
animations that are pretty great, like especially when he sees like a lithium in the floor, he gets really excited. And when he runs away from you, he's like baiting you. He's just a nuisance. So yeah, we'll see more of him and many enemies. We have a squirrel that climbs trees. We have a rabbit that hides in the snow and comes out. There's a bunch of stuff that people hopefully would like. Um,
That's
so I will
awesome.
go here, show you a couple more things, and then we'll stop here. So this is a kind of like a computer room and a little elevator. I don't know why I'm so incredibly proud of this elevator. It's just such a
It
beautiful
looks
thing. It's
cool.
way
I
too
mean, like
light.
this looks like a boss fight elevator, man. I love that.
Yeah, and the music stops, so you might be right in the real
Mm-hmm.
game. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But then you press this button, and then it kind of starts moving. And I just see this thing moving, and it just makes me so happy. I can sit here all day.
I love the
Uh,
greebles on it. Those are fantastic.
yeah,
That is awesome.
it's so great. So let me see if I can get to where I want to go to show you a couple things. I'm gonna go really fast now. So this is kind of, you go and you save here, but you can't get out. So now you have to kind of use your spear. So I'm gonna go at lightning speed a little bit here. Oh,
Go
that
for
was
it.
not supposed to happen. It's
Yeah,
okay.
go for it. I'd love to see more of the game, dude. This is awesome.
Oh my God, girl. Okay. So in here we have like the first example of like how we've coded secrets, for example. You're able to walk in here and it reveals the world. I mean, that's nothing, crazy, but to get it done at speed and for it to look good, it's good in pixel art.
I love the
Uh,
fade in and fade out system for that. I mean, I've seen that in other games before, but it's always much appreciated. It feels nice. It feels like a reveal
Yeah.
moment. Like that's nice. I love that.
Yeah. We'll probably put some music and some like the leitmotif of the game when you discover it. And there will be, of course, walls that you got to break and things like that. Calm down. We are gonna go here a little bit further to the right. Boom, boom.
Love the
So all of
horrifying
this is,
suit below you. Very nice.
yeah. This guy charges at us. We don't want him to do that because it'll take a while to figure that out. This combat is definitely not it. When you guys see the other combat, you're going to be like, why is that not here? So don't get too enamored with this. It is. I'm not, of course, upset with it, but I think there's a better version that we are working on. So we'll show you in a minute here.
Sure.
You're going to be a problem, aren't you? Let's show you. Let's go
Yeah.
here. Boom, boom, boom.
No, I'm loving
There
this. I think you guys put a masterful amount of effort into this. It's wild to see. And you said, how far out are you right now? Do you believe?
So we want to release early 2027. That's like the current goal. We are trying to speed that up with the Kickstarter. I don't like talking about Kickstarter because I just feel bad asking people for
No,
help.
don't feel bad.
But,
Don't feel bad at all.
yeah.
Talk about your stuff, man. Like 100%. Yeah, we've been linking it in chat, by the way.
Oh, well, I appreciate that for sure. There's a little mind there that scares you, but yeah, conceptually we want to do. I'm gonna make this game no matter what. This is like it's gonna happen. I don't know a way to stop it. So if I tell you real quick what I'm running here, like I come from Fortune 500 companies. I had a really good career. I did military cryptology. Then I went into
Boss.
big credit companies. I've had a great career. And you kind of lose your way into the corporate world, and then
Yeah.
not too long ago, maybe 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, there was a big tech layoff, and needless to say, the people that are high earners get affected. So it was pretty horrific, and you get this feeling of like worthlessness, right? Like
Yeah.
was it me, right? But
It's always one of those things,
that,
and I talk to the community a lot about that, man, which is you are not your job. Just because you
Exactly,
lose the
yeah.
position doesn't mean you lost a part of yourself. Just pays the
Exactly.
bills.
So that took a while to get through my head, of course. But during that time, I said to myself, I've been writing the story for this game for about 12 years. Just a thing that I do like as a passion project in my own. But then at that point, I said, it's now or never. If I go get another job, I'm just gonna become that person again. I'm gonna do this. So I took the severance and all that stuff, because they had to. And I said, I'm just gonna put all of it into making this game, and I'm gonna give myself 2 years. And in 2 years, I'm gonna make what I make, and it is what it is. And I because of that world, because of coming from that world, I have a different way. I look at product. I'm a product person. I used to run product for big companies. So I come from a different mentality, which is not necessarily good or bad. It's just a completely different approach. So I decided I'm just going to reach out to the best of the best of the best and see what they say. So I started reaching out to like some of the craziest pixel artists I could, and eventually one of them said like, "Yeah, this is kind of cool. Like, let's I'll give you like 10 hours a week, see what we do." And then once they saw what we were making, they said like, "No, this is great. I want to stay." And and then they brought someone else, and someone else brought someone else, and the team has grown all through voice of people just talking about the game to each other, the actual people working on it. So it's kind of like a beautiful thing. I'm escaping through these enemies just to get to a little further.
No, it's great.
Yeah. In terms of the Kickstarter, our hope is to be able to fund consoles and faster dev.
Fair.
But we're gonna make the game no matter what, which I know is a really bad marketing thing to say.
I don't think it is.
People-
I don't think it is at all. I think that
Okay.
that is honest. And I think one of the things that you'll find very quickly is as long as you are, people are more than overjoyed to find out about your adventure, man. I think that's a great thing to say. Yeah, just tell them. Tell them
Awesome.
everything.
So I mean, we do not have the resources to make the game the way people want it to be made. That's another thing, Thor, that I could at least say. If you're making a game and you show it to the world early, that's the best thing that could happen. People are going to talk to you about their ideas of the game or what they want. You don't have to change your vision for them, but if
Yeah.
you welcome the love of a community, you're gonna see that your dream that you think is so gigantic, it's kind of small. Like people have the greatest of ideas, and if you just give them a chance, and just treat them with dignity, like people are gonna show. I mean, it happens to me once in a while where people will go to a YouTube comments, which I answer every single one of them, and a person will go and give a comment, hey, I love the game, but I don't know, like it just feels like another Mega Man game. Like if you just take a moment to treat that person with dignity and just listen to them say, oh, well, tell me more. Like what part of you gives you that vibe? And you just wait and not react to it negatively because it's our impulse to not want to hear community because of that can happen. I'm telling you, so those are the most loyal people I have because they said, oh, well, maybe if it was a little faster, oh, come over to our Discord, tell me a little bit more about it. And then I just sit there for like 6 hours in voice. I just can't believe that I'm spending the time with them. And I think we're start for that kind of care. So that's kind of part of our experiment. Just do the product work, talk to people, see what they say, and you might be surprised.
Yeah, that's 100% the right way to do it. That's fantastic. It is. That is a lot of time investment, and there will always be more. Like that's the biggest thing with that. So I do wish you luck in that, knowing that the end of that road is 1 billion people. That battle in the
it's not realistic. Awesome. But we have at the end of this, I'll show you what we're doing. We have this idea on the Discord, which I invite everyone to join. If you want to make a game, make it with us if you want to. Like if it's not something you can do right now, what we do, we have this thing called when we created the Discord, we created a channel called Ask the Devs, just to give people an opportunity to ask us questions. But then I said, this doesn't sound like, what if I want to ask you something? So we created another version called Devs Ask You. We call them DAUs. And it started just like a channel, people talking, and we asking questions. Oh, what do you guys think about like contact damage? And then eventually it's become a thread where we've done, I think, 83 different updates, almost bi-weekly, nonstop, other than like right now because of the trailer. So we've done 83 full updates where we go, here's the thing we're making, this is what we think, what do you guys think? Here's a vote, talk to us about it. And we have sometimes we have like 500, 600 comments of people just telling us, oh, I love this system, I wish it could be like this or whatnot. And of course we have to parse through all of that. But it's probably saved us 1.5 years of dev time. It has to be. Because whenever people tell us like, oh, you're doing this other game has done it before, be careful with this. Games that I would have never played. So for us, just the community is probably the biggest gift we have right now. So
that's fantastic. How large is your Discord currently, by the way? How many people are
very tiny, which is like 460 people maybe.
That's going to change real fast.
It's but I mean, I can manage it for now, and I give a lot of people, like people give me feedback, and I write to every single person, and I can do that today. I'm sure that in the future I won't be able to, but I want to keep that for as long as possible because it's materially. It changed. I'll show you later an ability that didn't exist in the game, that only exists because somebody suggested it and everybody rallied around it.
Show me.
And they spend the time. I'll show you now. So I'm going to go to the... Oh, actually, let me show you one last thing and we'll go. So we're working on a couple of things here, like our map. I'm obsessed with diegetic games. If somebody's hearing this and doesn't know what that is, I don't blame you. I learned that making games. I come from product and I didn't know what the word is. Diegetic means Zura experiences what you experience. So if she's seeing the map, you're seeing the map, right? So we're working on things like that. We don't have a good prototype to show you right now, but this is like an example of like something we want to do. Like we want the map to come out of her hand like a little hologram, and then you could walk with it and whatnot. We don't have a good version of it just yet, but it'll be things like that. Whenever you're seeing the menu, you're kind of seeing her face seeing the menu. We have another version of the map that is huge, that is thrown into the background. So it's like she's throwing a hologram into the actual background, and it takes the shape of the background and feels like she's... No, the enemies can see it too, and they get surprised, right? So things like that, we want the character to feel what you're feeling. So that's kind of
removing the gamification from it, making part of the actual world. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that's one of the things.
So if you know, she knows. Yeah. Exactly. And then, that last thing, I'll see if I have an enemy here to show. So I have my favorite system of the game, This menu is horrific. Like we got a lot of work to do here, but we have a little accessibility stuff and whatnot. But there's this menu here. Thor, I think you would really like this. A lot of people might be like, I need to see more of it, but I think you're gonna like this. So
Okay.
we have this idea of if you were to make a Metroidvania and you were to play it your own way, how could you do that without a talent tree? And I'm telling you, I'm a Path of Exile enjoyer, love the
Yeah.
game. But if you give me 1,500 nodes and there's only 6 viable builds,
Yep.
I'm gonna feel a certain way, right? So not
Yeah.
criticizing guys,
100%.
grinding gear guys, don't hunt me down. I'm just saying, I would
that's
like
that
to.
in every game, though, man. Anytime
Yeah.
you get like 1,000 nodes, it's the same thing in Diablo 4. It's the same thing in Path of Exile. It's the same in all of those. So I completely get it, 100%.
Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with it. I was on the wave. If you guys played Path of Exile 2, I was on the wave that, I made a sorceress and I made my, I thought I was the smartest guy in the world. And I was like, oh, here's my, cast on freeze, comet build. And there's like 20 million people doing the same thing. And I'm okay with that. But then I don't know where it gets nerfed to the ground. It disappears. That's normal. I'm okay with that. I think that has to happen. But I said to myself, if I were to explain that build to a friend, how would that work? So if I was telling Thor, you want to try my build? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. I'd be like, okay, here's a picture of all my notes. I need a third-party tool. I need like some YouTuber to make a guide to how to play. I'll have to do all that, right? So I said, like, can we reduce that as a product problem? Forget about gaming for a minute, as a product problem. So I said, charms do that. Hollow Knight charms, right? Something like that. But charms are consequentially, you could play with any of them, and the consequence is not overly high, but it's great. It lets you still make your thing, but it's not a build. So I said, what if you could really make a build, but it had to be scalable? So it has to scale. It has to scale really high. Builds don't scale, right? If you have to make more nodes, that's balancing. Big problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping. I made this concept, and the programmers made it work. So this concept is called protocols. So what you have is you have a Rolodex of 2 words. That's it. You have a word on the left and a word on the right. The word on the left is the effect, and the word on the right is the trigger. End of story. So you have an effect that you can trigger, and then you have the actual trigger, and you get to choose those things. In this example, the only one that I have here set up is code. So code says, when it says it right here, you summon a drone whenever you kill an enemy in this situation. So code breaker. So whenever you kill an enemy, you trigger. You see this is white, so it's pretty much saying I will do the left side. That's it. So you can change breaker for weaver, and weaver says, attacking enemies with the correct weapons, it'll tell you like, oh, hit an enemy with a spear. And if you hit him with a spear, you'll trigger code. So we have a bunch of versions of this. So you could be a code breaker, a code weaver, a code bringer, a code mancer, etc. So the system is very simple. You choose the thing you want to do, and you choose how do you want that to happen.
Yeah.
If you do that and you come out and you find an enemy and you kill them, it's supposed to happen. And I don't think it happened. So
Don't worry.
Try one more time.
This is a very interesting design, actually. Can you talk a little bit about how you came to this conclusion outside of just like seeing other stuff? Like when you first got that implemented, what about it felt right? Because you can have an idea in your head, you can put it on paper, but the moment that you put it in game, how did you know that this was the right way to do this?
For sure. So the biggest thing with it was that I have this philosophy, and I can get so kumbaya sometimes, so I apologize. But I have this philosophy that I'm not making the game for me. I actually don't like that philosophy as much as I thought I would. I like the idea of making the game for your best friend. I think that's the way I like to phrase it. I'm making my game for my best friend. Because I can't solve my own problems. I don't know, if somebody tells me like, oh, you're overthinking this, I'm like, well, whatever. But if I see a friend overthinking it, I'm gonna tell them like, hey, like I really care. I don't want you to like overthink this, right? So I care more about my friends than I care about me sometimes, which is a bad idea, but it works.
Gotta put your own oxygen mask on first, man.
Exactly. but it's a good mindset to have whenever you're thinking like, do I want them to go through the struggle of setting up a huge talent tree or like some other system of like Dark Soul points or stuff like that? And do I want them to struggle through that? Or do I want to tell them, oh, I just killed the wolf boss, and they're like, oh, I've been struggling with it. How do you kill it? Oh, I use Codebreaker.
Yep.
And you explained it's done. And they're like, oh, well, I tried Echo Weaver, and that was really difficult. It's like, oh, well, maybe try, Echo Bringer. That could work. And that's the conversation. And it could feel so spectacular whenever you're able to talk to people in that simple language. But also, like specifically for this, And you know this more than most people. If we decide to ever make a DLC, right?
You can just add more to it.
And we want to do it for free, we can add 2 words here.
Yep.
On each side. So this is combinations. So we are planned to release the game with 8 and 8. That's our current goal. So that means 64 combinations.
Yep.
They are somewhat distinct. I mean, some of them might feel different, feel similar, but they are foundationally different. You will feel like you're playing a different build for each one of those combinations. So then we go and do a Christmas update. It was like, oh, sure, here's 2 more. Programmatically, it's very low effort for us, but we just went from 64 builds to 100 combinations, from 8 to 8 to 10 to 10, right? So it just gives a lot of replayability. It gives you like an opportunity to feel, that you are making a different effect to what you want to play. So in this example of code, it's a combat summoner build. So it accounts for about 25% of your damage, but all of them do. So you don't have to feel bad if you want to use summons.
The ads have cut us off. Bezos is here.
So we should maybe I'll swap from this to the combat test if you want to.
Sure.
Now that we're in ads. Yeah,
I
think we're back right?
from the ads. We are. Yeah. So if you want to continue your thought.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'll say this real quick before we move on to the combat test here. So we have a couple of pillars. So I come, of course, from the military. So you kind of force into thinking in threes. And I have 3 personal pillars that I lead. I do everything by those 3 pillars, but I made 3 pillars for the studio, and part of that involves this idea of us let the player play is the first one. I'm not going to go over all of it, but that's the one that I think matters a lot. Let the player play. So we care a lot about the world feeling like you're playing. So pausing the game to force you to do things that kind of not great. We don't want that. We want you to. If there's dialogue, we want you to be able to move through the dialogue if we can, unless it's like a very important thing, things like that. So for us, glorifying difficulty, saying, oh, if you want to be a really cool game dev, you have to make our own engine. We don't jive with that. We want people to use the tools that are available so they can make the greatest thing they can make with the time and ability that they have. So that's kind of like our goal to use everything that's out there, to the best of our ability, other than AI. Yeah. Sorry, that's not going to happen. But other than that, we are very pro, use the tools the community has made, and of course, give them credit for it. Awesome. So can you see Game Maker right now?
Yes. Yeah, I can see everything.
Okay. Awesome. So this is definitely so in the game, as you were seeing in the actual Godot build, that's on Steam already. So we're testing on Steam, and there's like all that stuff. This is just an executive file that we're using here in Game Maker to make a test of combat. This is a lot faster. So this is maybe a little too fast, but don't worry about it. This is just a test, right? Fair. So what I'm going to show here is kind of prototyping of a new idea. So we said to ourselves, if we make the game way too deliberate, it feels more like Dark Souls. And even Dark Souls is really fun, it might not be as cinematic as we want it to be. So what if we tried a completely different approach and went into a little bit more Prince of Persia, a little bit faster, right? What would that look like? So, we started testing with it, and this is all sprite work. This is not really like hyper coded or anything like that. So a lot of stuff doesn't work. The sounds are not right. A bunch of stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
But in here, you'll see like she attacks much faster, and she has a lot more range. This will probably be toned down like 20%, but still, like, she moves pretty fast and feels a lot faster in terms of execution. When we hit the enemies, they're a lot more floaty. So you'll see here, like I could.
Yeah, because it's just prototyping.
Game. Yeah. But for sure, it kind of gives you this idea that, this could be a different vibe of the game. So we definitely have normal attacks. We have your shield. You have your spear combo, which I told you guys about. And then you have your axe combo, which is not implemented here.
Yeah.
So then something I could show you is like this. In this version, we're going to go into contextuals. And I know people think contextuals and they think like Hadouken motions and stuff like that. Not at all. So what we're doing here is saying, if you press X, which is your blue button, or your face left button, you'll do this. But if you press even down or diagonally down or whatever, as long as you're pressing a little bit down enough that it's not moving forward, you will do your spear combo, right? So you're only pressing X, but as you're pressing forward, you can press down and she will combine it with the other one. And what happens is, if you see here, I do like a normal shield attack. If I do shield and then spear, you see like the spear goes down. So your brain is thinking attack 2 of the spear is me going down a little bit. So it feels really good, and it's very little. You don't have to put it all the way like to the ground. You're just moving the control a little bit down, and I'm doing everything with X. Whenever I jump, I can press the X to crash down, or I could press down and X, which is the motion that you expect, right? And I could kind of hit the
Yeah,
enemy
so
like that.
the button economy you have there is much smaller than I thought it was going to be. Because what I thought is that you were using so many different buttons to use all these different weapons. That's really fascinating, actually.
Yeah, and it feels. I know, like if people, oh, wait, it might get into like a fighting game. So I'm telling you, it's so soft. It's up and down. That's it. So if you're pressing, down, you do spear. If you press up, then you do the axe. And up
And
is upwards motion. So your brain is saying, wherever I want to send the enemy, that's where I point my joystick. That's it.
yeah, do you have a plan on changing this based on player, settings, anything like that, to be able to change it in any possible way with that?
Definitely. So we will have. I mean, I think
Like
any
remapping
game
for everything.
of this
Yeah,
style, if you do not do remapping,
yeah,
you're sentencing yourself to early death. So we will have remapping.
good. Yeah,
What
good deal.
what I don't know is if our remapping will let us change the contextuals other than giving you a different context. Like some people might want to like hold the button instead of like pressing a diagonal or something. I have to think about how we would
That's
do
a bit
that.
different. Yeah,
But for sure, we are going to let you change the buttons because some people, and I care a lot about accessibility. In the current state, if you want to press Y, so your yellow button, that's far for a lot of people that might maybe have not like played this type of games before. So I don't want you to like feel like, oh, I have like, I don't know, not arthritis, but maybe you can't bend your finger that way. You can't play this game. I don't
yeah.
want that. We can't oversolve for everything, but definitely we could do better than just let's just force the buttons to people. So
Yeah, no,
it'll
that
get better.
actually that's super nice because it's one of the things that we care about like quite a bit in the community is there's a lot of people that have physical disabilities and they use controller remapping to be able to play these types of games. So the fact that that's like so
Mhm.
forefront in your mind is really great to hear, honestly.
Yeah, it's critical because if we don't do that, then what we're saying is like we weren't ingenious enough. This is not a reflection of the player. This is a reflection of us as devs. So instead of making a new engine or crafting some like, oh, this is the most complicated way to do particles, or I need like reflective light on I don't know freckles. Maybe we just care about accessibility and just make the game playable by a lot of people. So something that I want to show you real quick is like you see that there, the flying enemy. I can, of course, they are very puppety. He's gonna die in like 3 hits. But something we think we might implement is making it so that whenever I hit them, they will not die until I stop hitting them. So I could just
Mhm.
have fun. Like you're gonna know that they're dead in the game, but you can hit them until you want to be done. So I'll show you real quick if I can pull it off. So I'm hitting them, they're definitely dead, right? But I could keep hitting them for a little bit, and I'm just having a blast, right? It doesn't matter. There's no consequence, and I already know that they're dead. So if I want to do that and feel great because I got to pull my combo, I don't have to make the enemies more what is it?
Like
Difficult or
tanky.
have more health
Yeah.
or anything spongy to give you fun. Then there's this little asshole. Oh, sorry, this guy over here. I don't know if we
You could
can we
say that.
share
It's
here.
fine. You're
I'm
fine.
sorry.
Don't worry about it.
So this guy has armor, which is represented by his yellow. This is not how it's going to look. This is just something that we made. So
Yeah.
whenever I hit them, he doesn't stagger, right? He doesn't stagger. So the axe is the weapon designed to deal with that in the real game. So right now he's going to do whatever he wants to until I break his armor, and then he's like a puppet, and now I can do whatever I want, right? And the idea is like, let's say like 80% of their health will be something, and then 20% will be have fun. At the have
Yeah.
fun moment, you do whatever you want, and they're just gonna die. And I think that power, the fantasy of power that because the enemy died, you don't forget your combo. That feels
Mhm.
bad to me. Like I don't want you to feel like that.
So
But
what
now
is
I'm
your
gonna go. Go ahead. Go
go-to
ahead.
kind of balance feel for that? Like what are you balancing around? You balancing around game feel at that point? You balancing around statistics first? Like how are you approaching this as a problem?
For me, the biggest goal is that the player. So I have this simple matrix of like the enemies are powerful and you are powerful. That's the matrix. So it's a 2 by 2. In most games, the enemies are powerful and you just suck, right? And you just do this one swing and that's it. That's okay. There's a fantasy of that, of like overcoming that. Then there's the opposite, which is like you're incredibly powerful and the enemies just suck, right? Which is and there's a lot of games that those are called cinematic
Dynasty
fighters, where
Warriors.
the enemies, yeah, they
That's
have no they have no chance. Like you just swing and
yeah.
they're yours to enjoy. Then there's like you suck and they suck, which is a little bit more puzzle, and that's okay. Like that, suck doesn't mean bad. It just means like they're not great and you're not great. There's not a lot of power.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go for like I'm powerful and they're powerful. So they have moments where they're great and I have moments where I'm great. As long as they have like the thing that prevents me from doing whatever I want, they're powerful. But whenever I defeat that, then I get to have fun. What I don't want is like, let's say this guy has armor, or I can't stagger them. And I'm hitting them, hitting them, hitting them, and I just hate the fact that I gotta go this and run and hit and run, and I'm like running, and then whenever I do get a chance to actually hit them, they just instantly die because I didn't get this moment to have fun. Then I never get to see my combos. So it is kind of like a little bit. Hades 2 was the inspiration of this for the armor thing, but we are taking it way further because we have other concepts. We have armor, we have energy shields that regenerate. So the axe breaks armor, but the spear stops energy shields from regenerating. We have a bunch of concepts. So just to answer your question very literally, game feel number one, letting the player play, have their fun. But the threat cannot go away. If you don't feel threatened by the world because you're juggling enemies, I'm going to show you a lot of juggles here in a moment. But they're gonna go away. As in, like our idea is that whenever you juggle an enemy, you'll have a button to chase them. Versus like you have to like go and like do all the work.
Yeah.
If you want to do all the work, you can. But our goal is that if you are not that kind of player and it's not for you, I don't want you to struggle through enjoying kind of doing combos. But I'll show you here what that looks like in a moment. So this guy's invincible. He won't die. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff to him. Sorry, little soldier. So I'll show you guys a couple of things. If we do shield, 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 he gets pushed out a little bit. The shield kind of reflects projectiles and whatnot because you are swinging a shield. That's our main weapon. So it's kind of his core gimmick. But then if you have enemies that are chargers, or that are charging at you, or enemies that you need to push away, then you have the spear. So the spear will do something like this, and it pushes them much further away. Probably not that far. This is way too floaty.
Pretty far. But, yeah, I was like, whoa.
Get them away, right? Get them away from you. And then you have the axe, which is not only an upward thing. It has 3 hits, but right now we've made it so we only have this one in this demo. So I'll show you what that looks like combined. But we also have other instruments, right? We have the katana and we have the chakram. So the katana is already has this button to like do the swing, but in here we want it to be part of your combo, right? So one part of the combo right now is you can dash through enemies, right, to dodge them. And we also have an accessibility option that when you dash, you stay speedy. You don't have to hold that button. So a lot of people kind of sometimes don't want to be dashing. That's kind of stressful to their fingers. So you just dash, and she gets this little effect, and you just run, and you're just running at the same speed as you're constantly dashing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hopefully we get to pull this off as pretty as it looks here in engine with real particles, so it's not repetitive.
Yeah.
But then like if you press down and dash, which is kind of forcing yourself to the ground, right? That idea. Then instead of doing this dash, you do this dash. So he does a little bit of cut through them.
And it also did an effect there, it looked like?
Yes. So that effect stuns enemies, and that lets them not turn around instantly. So most enemies will, when they have armor, they will turn around and smack you very quickly, kind of Nine Souls style. But if you want to continue your combo, you can stun them. Not all enemies can easily be stunned, but this one can. So I'm able to like continue what I'm doing without him like kind of reacting to me, right? And that's like, I shouldn't have pressed that button, but I'll show you that in a minute. So contextually, if I want to, I could throw this enemy to the air and then just stun him there. And that gives me a lot more time to do what I want to do. So it's not like we want you to be juggling enemies and have this super difficult buttons. It's more of a, can you have a lot of fun with what we have in the kit? And then can that kit be enough for you to go crazy creative? So here's an example. You can, for example, do like spear and do that, right? So you can cancel the last hit of the spear to kind of go through an enemy and stun them instead of sending them far away if you wanted to do that. You can also do dash cancels. Like, for example, you can go from far away and then use your axe like that and hit them, right? Or you can go from far away and then use the spear vault, which this is the ability that I was telling you that the community created. They were obsessed with it. This idea, like, we need a spear vault, like in Monster
That's awesome
Hunter.
as hell. Yeah, I mean, I agree with him. It looks cool.
I play
Insect in Monster Hunter, dude. Like, I love it. So I'm down.
So you know what's up. I mean, and you can understand my pain. Like, I can't track enemies. I don't know how the height of the enemies is going to... You guys don't understand how difficult this is, but they're so excited. So we have to
like,
drag
it looks
enemies
great.
with us.
Yeah. I mean, it looks
said,
cool.
Okay.
You
It
know,
looks very cool, but it's a pain.
it's all. I mean,
But
the
you
thing
know,
is I think a lot of people don't realize is everything that you've shown here is a huge technical pain in the ass. Like the way that
huge.
you're
Yeah.
doing combos, the way that you're doing context with the way that you move, the idea of splitting the environment in half, even doing portals that actually take into account the velocity of the incoming projectile and redirecting that correctly, especially with beams. Like there's a ton of technical madness that they're pulling off here to get this
Hmm.
to look as smooth as it is. That I think the way that I always feel about it is if you notice a shadow in a video game, they did it wrong, right? And you've done it in a way where
Mm,
it feels like the background shadows. It's like, oh yeah, that feels natural. Great.
that's a
It's
good
like
point. Yeah.
the level of difficulty to make it feel natural like that is phenomenal. Like you guys are kicking a huge amount of ass here. This looks awesome.
That's definitely like the core goal. Like it has to feel like it has to feel like the game is so we have this thing called immersion by distance. It's one of our pillars too. So
Sure.
distance from this world. So we don't put like any agendas, any topics from this world. We don't want like we want you to play this game. And I feel for some of my friends, like I have a friend that's a father of two. He comes home from work. He only has like an hour and a half to play. I don't
Yeah.
want him to like be told who to be and what to think whenever he's playing my game. But I also don't want him to like worry about the technical complexities of making the game. So if
Yeah.
I'm giving him like a way to go up, I don't want him to think like, oh, he's forcing me to use the spear. Just use whatever you want to, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, some people are going to say, oh, some of these instruments are um, a little
Better at this or yeah.
yeah, better than this. But of course, we'll create problems where you might not be able to go through this wall without the chakram, and so we'll create that. But if you're just running around and you're just having fun and you just want to use this spear here because you like that weapon, why am I going to make you use the chakram? So a little bit of that, like just distance from forcing people to think any way, to do anything in any way. Just have fun. And of course, whenever we're dealing with puzzles, there'll be like maybe one solution, but getting to that solution should be very ingenious. It should be part of your goal, not my goal as the dev. Like you will do it this way. Um, Same with combos, right? So I'll show you here an example with combos. So I am the kind of player that I like this. I like the idea of being able to do. I'll do this super simple combo, which I am very bad at fighting games. So if I can pull this off, you guys could pull this off. So this is the
Go for it.
example. Like this. Oh, of course, I already messed it up. And then being able to do that, I like that. That feels good to me. So it's
Cool
something that
combos
I like.
together, yeah. Yeah.
Very simple, and I did it on my own, right? I didn't need the game to tell me, hey, listen, here's how you do a combo.
My
Like I just
God,
do
dude,
whatever.
don't even bring it up. It's funny too,
Yeah.
because like I hate tutorial creatures. Like I hate Navi. I hate the hate listen. Like it's one of the biggest pet peeves of mine, man. And I love the way that you've portrayed this so far. And the idea of being able to like find your own solutions to stuff and movement. It's funny because even though it's got it reminds me of Breath of the Wild. And there were a number of puzzles that they had. I think it was with electrical stuff, where instead of using metals in the environment, you could take metal weapons and throw them on the ground and it would actually transfer the electricity through it. And players figure that out at one point of just like, you can solve these in totally weird ways if you want to, because they
Yeah.
just added materials together. And what you've done is you've given a whole bunch of tools to the player and they're like, hey, you can solve this in whatever way you want. Here's a bunch of weird ways to move. Enjoy,
Exactly.
right? And
And
I
then
love that. Do you
like
do you
it's
have
not
these
that
from the
difficult.
start, by the way?
Uh, from the start, no.
Okay,
That's like, and I really want to show you our Discord at the end of this because
sure.
it has been such a blessing. I cannot explain because when you come from product, your mind is always you build, you measure, you learn.
Yeah.
And in game dev, the story that I got from my friends that do game dev is like the polar opposite. And once again, not a criticism. It's a great like maybe we're hurt, like maybe we've been hurt before, right? We show something and people like criticize it, and then like, well, I guess if I want people to like it, I have to change it. But then I have my own vision, right? So it's always like this clash between like what I want to make versus what people want. So that's why I said like neither. We're making the game for our best friend, and if our best friends are community, they don't I don't call it community led development because I think that they
Mhm.
will be in control, and I don't think they want that either. They want to for us to make a game for them, but I call it community synced, which I don't think is a great name for it, but I really like it. So the community is constantly aware of what we're making
Mhm.
enough to have an opinion, but they can come up like we told them, hey, here's like for example, like I go like, oh, this is the combo that I want to do. I like this idea and I want to
Yeah.
be able to do this. And they're like, that's awesome. But I like dashing. Can you let me dash? I'm like, okay, well, maybe do you want to do this? Maybe? Okay, we'll give you
Mm.
that, and then
Mm.
you start, yeah. So,
Mm.
but I could barely pull that off, but it's so easy. I press X the entire time. By the way, that was X, X X X X X. So it's. But then somebody else goes like, I have a friend of mine that's like a lot of crazy good, which I don't know if I can pull this off right now. I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna look stupid, but here's an idea. Uh, he does something more like this, and this I'll show you something of the if I can pull it off. Let's see. Oof, I shouldn't be this nervous, but we're gonna try. Here we go. No, no, no. Let's do it again. Nothing personal, kid.
So here's the thing.
Like,
The fact that you had to, so there's a moment where I realized that the combos in a game are going to feel good. And it's, kind of fighting games, you get this a lot, but it was actually the moment where you failed to do the combo. Where you started in the
yeah,
beginning, you're like, oh, no, I actually have to do it this way. I have to do it this way. Oh, I have to try it this way. I have to stop, and I have to get the timing right on this. The moment you did that, I realized that this feels amazing. I want to get my hands on it to try it, but
yeah,
that shows me that there are combos that you can build out of this. There's even going to be ones that I bet players find later that are even more ridiculous than this, right?
yeah.
Even the one where you carried the momentum of the knockback on the character and turned that into a pole vault, into grinding him, with the
Hmm.
turning into a blender the entire way. Like that's really really a cool move to see that of like knocking him forward and then carrying the momentum with an ability that also carries momentum to do extra damage. That right there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just
stuff like
awesome,
this
you know.
is, what I'm most proud of the team is that this feels like you're going to be juggling whatnot, but it really isn't. Like the character kind of takes you there, and you don't
Mhm.
feel like you are suffering to pull off a combo. And if you don't pull the combo, you can do other cool stuff. Like you could
Sure.
do like let me see something that could work here. Like you could, like for example, like I said, you can use the spear to push them away. But if you really don't want them to be pushed away because they're going to go into another enemy, then you could like cancel that. Well, and jump, for example. You don't have to hit them if you don't want to,
Yeah.
but you could also like do that and it stun them. Or you could this charge up is to do our little ultimate here. We don't have a button for it yet, so it's like nope, don't, and then you can do your little thing to control them there. But you can continue that, and then we have little pogo stuff. It's pretty. I mean, if I can do this and I'm just pressing X, people are gonna have a blast.
Yeah, they
So
are.
my goal is to make this a little slower. I want to be honest with people. I don't want people to think like you have to be so crazy. It'll be pretty simple to perform, but we'll probably be a little slower, maybe 20% less fast as you see now. And enemies will not let you do this alone, right? If they have armor or something like that, they won't really let you. And there's going to be a lot of density in the game. I hope, like you have 3 or 4 enemies at a time they have to deal with, and you have the tools to figure them out. So yeah, it's not really about just like can I stun lock this enemy for 20 minutes? It's more about what can I do with the tools provided. And like I said, one of the favorite combos of the community keeps being like something like that. You can just go into them. But if there's another enemy here, right? Another enemy right here, and I'm fighting them, and I like, this is the sniper, for example, and it's a bad problem, and I don't want
Yeah.
to deal with them. I could definitely like go over here and just say, you and I go away, like something like that. Let's go over here, and then I kill you, and then I come back and deal with that enemy. Um, so that you can figure out how to solve the problem without thinking, well, all I can do is throw a spear in a straight line and run, and throw a spear in a straight line and run. That's the goal for sure.
So here's kind of an
Also, oh, go
interesting
ahead.
thing is you've got
Mhm.
all these different combat moves, you've got all this kind of stuff for being able to make combat feel fun. What are the rewards of combat? I saw those little gem electrical things that were dropping off of enemies. Can you talk anything about that or the progression systems involved with whatever that is?
For sure. So a couple of things that we have. So the super quick thing, this whole shape protocol thing, it's a big problem in the world. And there's this what the robots are made of is this material called lithium, which is a play on
Mhm.
words on Elysium, and lithium. So the
Yeah.
idea is that we're all made. These characters are all like they're called replicas. They're like a human, but not quite. They suffer, they cry, they feel, but they're of course superior to us in many ways. So the reason why I bring that is whenever you defeat an enemy, you get like a lithium falls, and you can collect that and you can use that for things. But in most Metroidvanias, the whole idea is like, okay, you go buy a charm, or you go do things like that, right? In this game, we've came up with some systems that I really love, where you have every area on the world is its own, like it's going through its own problem. Because you are not the center of the world. You're not the most important, most powerful thing to ever exist. If you
Okay.
think like this is kind of powerful, you gotta see your dad. We have a dad in the game, and he is like way more powerful than us. So we are
Hades
not the most
vibes,
powerful thing in the
like
world. Yeah, kind of that vibe. Yeah. So as you're realizing I'm not the most powerful thing in the world, there's certain things I can do that others can't, but there's certain things they can I cannot. What ends up happening is that the when you go to other places in the world, they have their own problems. So an idea that we had is, for example, you might go into this bastion that you saw at the beginning of the trailer, like this huge robot, and it's a living thing. This thing is alive, and you could talk to it, and it has, it's suffering, and you saw that there's a hole in it, that there's a war going on, so it's struggling, and you might use your resources to go to his quote, we'll call it a shop, but it's really not a shop. It's more of a system thing. So you might go to his heart and pretty much connect with them and say he needs like this much in order to turn off all of the electricity that is it hurts you. It doesn't let you get to certain places. But whenever you turn off the electricity inside Bastion Suna, now new enemies are able to come in. So you got a benefit of enabling more areas, but now you have snipers because they're able to come in through the same door that you open, right? So the idea is like using resources to change the world so that you feel like combat is worth doing. And there's also, of course, like what we do not have, I'll tell you this right now. We don't have like a combo meter of like, B, A, S, double S. We're not doing
yeah.
that. We don't want you. I mean, we might do like some protocol that is based on like feel that kind of power, but not like a goal for the player to like juggle enemies for 10 minutes. That's not our hope for sure. But yeah, I mean there's a lot more rewards that we can't share right now because there's systems that we're making, but there's also the game has a lot of story that we want to deliver in 2 to 3 lines or less. It's really important to us that you're not sitting there reading dialogue because we're not that kind of game. It's not that we don't have a problem with those games. We're just not that game, and we don't want to create that expectation.
Fair.
So something that we're doing is, for example, when we were on the other version of the game and you could see the protocols, something there that we could do was give players the protocols by learning more about those type of replicas. So there's a type of replica called a breaker, and you don't know what that is, and you might find some of them that are either dead or some that you have to rescue. And let's say there's 3 of them, and as you find them, you learn the story of the breakers, which feels a little bit like Ender Lilies, like that vibe of like
Yeah.
setting up the world by the story of a type of replica and what their job was and how they've suffered through this war. But then eventually you get the protocol. That's like your superpower is that you can ingest these pieces of musical code and use them. That's your power.
You showed the protocols earlier and being able to take like a prefix and affix, combine them together to create a full effect. Are you only going to have one of those on at a time, or are there options to get multiples of them running at once, or?
So you only at this point you only get one of them at a time, as in like one on the left and one on the right. But
Yeah.
Thor, they are insane.
They're just dramatic. They're completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they feel
That's
very
good.
different.
Yeah. One of them that I really like that is good for like maybe players that like the idea of like sticking to an enemy and like doing a lot of damage versus like code, which is more like a control type of like summoner vibe. There's one called Echo, for example. And Echo, what it does, so the left side is Echo. What it does is whenever you do certain things, like whenever you trigger it, it will do your attack twice. So a copy of Zura that is made out of code, like she looks like dark, and like a copy of her that looks shaded, will come and do the attack again. So you're like, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's like bam, bam. But I think you can imagine the possibilities of craziness.
That would be
We're like-
insane at that point because you're
Yeah.
doubling everything, right?
Yeah, and what if there was some sort of way to delay that, and then you could do this from one side, but your copy could do it from the other side, and then out of nowhere you can like
So like a mirror
juggle an
kind
enemy,
of a
but
thing.
later on it gets juggled again. I don't know, like some crazy stuff. We don't know, right? But
Yeah.
imagine if you could play like it feels like Naruto. You're making copies of yourself, and they're doing stuff for you, but
Nope,
you
ads.
decide how to. Okay, go ahead. That's cool. That's a good question.
They just showed
though.
up.
Good question.
Yeah, they popped up.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question for that.
Oh, of
That's
course,
gonna
of
make-
course.
you'll see.
How are we doing on time, Thor? I don't want to.
Dude,
overstay
you're
my welcome.
fine. The thing is, I
Okay.
stream 12 hours a day. Like, I set
Okay.
3 hours out for each of you guys, but yours is the last one of the day. We can just go, right? Like, it's not that
Okay,
big a
I'm
deal.
super excited to show you more.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is not a game that all of our innovations are clear. People can see them and understand them, so you don't really have to explain it. But stuff like protocols, it kind of take a little bit of explaining, right? So we really appreciate the opportunity to like actually talk
Yeah.
about these things because they're
Yeah,
special.
You don't have to worry at all. Like I'm super down to sit there and like see every feature of this because your game looks phenomenal. The systems look really deep and interesting, and I know that needs breathing room. It's one of the reasons that I wanted to do Indiecember in the first place was to give games this kind of breathing room because the only other way that you get this is you get a hype trailer, and that's it. And there's nothing else, right? Like that's not.
Exactly.
It just doesn't tell the whole story, man. Like you got to sit down, talk to the devs, find out how they are. What your kind of aspirations for the game are, the way that you feel, and then also go deep into the game systems themselves to really get a feel for it.
For sure. I mean, it's a big thing because a lot of the studios that I talk to all the time, they really want this type of exposure where they get to like obsess about their game. But it's so rare. Like, we get like 30-second,
And
show your trailer and that's it. And you can convey a lot, of course. It's a skill to convey a lot in a tiny little bit of time. But sometimes it's also highly motivational for you to like see people excited about what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So it's very transformational for a team that's like trying to say, is this what people want? Like, do we have the formula? Are we close?
Yeah.
So it means a lot for sure.
And I think it's a big deal because you get to see the reactions in real time. It's one of the best things around is just seeing people react to your stuff as they're experiencing it. And like that was one of the biggest things for Indiecember though, is like I said, I kept seeing all these award shows, I kept seeing all these shows showing off different games, and I was like, there was a 30-second blurb, and the only other thing you can do is go to the Steam page, and then you forget it. Like pretty much immediately because you had no experience with it. You don't know who the devs are. You don't know anything about them or their history, the stuff that they're doing. So like we wanted to try to do that differently. And I got to say, it's been pretty rad so far doing in December. We had 500 games submit, and I think I get to do like 75 to 90 of them based on how many days that I can stream this month. And I normally stream 6 days a week, and I switched over to 7 days a week so we could fit some more indies in because there's just so many, man. There's so many people applied.
So cool,
it's actually wild. But we're getting all those videos out for each one of them, too. Anyway, the ads have ended. But that being said, I have a question that's going to make your programmers upset. You talked about having echo as one of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you echo the world split?
You're a problematic dude. Oh my gosh. The problem is you say things like that and I haven't thought about it, and then I'm gonna go back and we're gonna have a meeting.
It's gonna be so good. Enjoy. And here's the thing: is if you do echo the world split, which way does it split along the X?
Yeah, it's that kind of stuff is like what excites me. If you join our meetings and freaking, we do Wednesday meetings, and when we meet, sometimes we spend a lot of time on stuff like that. Like, what if we did this? And they're very crazy, far into like insanity stuff. And then of course my programmer goes like, Kendall, can we please? We have enough. I'm like, well, but can we, right? Can we?
Yeah.
So the World Cut, I will tell you this without spoiling. I have to control myself because I do want you guys to see it for real. But the World Cut could do a lot more than what it does today, and it's going to, and it's going to feel great. It's going to feel great. A lot of what it's going to do in terms of protocols, I could tell you that our whole dream is that whenever people are picking a protocol, they don't marry themselves to it forever. But I do not want to reward you for switching, because if I do, then I think like I'm giving you the wrong incentive. But I'm not sure. I'm still open to figuring that out. But the main idea is like as you get more protocols, some crazy stuff will be enabled that will change your playstyle drastically. And when I say drastically, that's our dream. Like this, you should have at least 8 ways, right? Let's say that like only the left side, like the functions only matter, because they're called functions and calls, but whatever, that's programming cuteness. But the concept of the function, which is the effect, those effects should be drastic enough that everyone that's playing each one of them should say, this is an effect that I really love, but my playstyle is defined on the other side, right? The call, which is the thing that triggers the effect. So somebody might really like to fight with different weapons. So if you like to fight with the shield, maybe Weaver's not for you, because Weaver is going to say, use shield and use the axe and use the spear. Can you do that? And if you go, I sure can. And if you do, then you'll get a lot of reward, right? Because you'll trigger the effect many times, right? But that's like really high skill cap. Whereas if you want to play Breaker is, as long as you defeat an enemy or hit a boss. So
Yeah.
if I defeat this enemy, then I'll get a drone if I'm using code, for example, and that's good enough for me. That's what I like. I don't want to be stressed out about like, how difficult it is for me to pull off something. But people that have that find that enjoyable, then they will have uh, both an effect that they can trigger because of what they like to do, and a trigger. It's clear obscure, mini clear obscure is the way I would say. It's mini clear obscure. It's tiny.
Okay.
It's like a version of the Pictos on Lumina system that is just tiny. It's meant to be really tiny. You choose two things, but remember, there's also one last thing to it. You can pick Echo Breaker, for example. Whenever I kill an enemy, my next attack happens twice. It's not as exciting, right? Because you have to kill an enemy. But maybe Echo Breaker does, when it's combined, it does something special. Like that wouldn't work with Echo Weaver. So they might have secret little rules that when you combine them, you get them in your little database and it tells you, oh, Echo Breaker is something like, here's like a little thing that they do that others don't do. So you're incentivized to test them and to mess with different versions. So, but imagine if you could control it. So you say Echo Breaker makes it so that my next attack happens when I want, not when like the moment that I do it. So then you would be able to like kill this enemy and save that attack to then go to the next enemy and like axe them twice in the face, which is insane damage. So things like that, if you want to do that or set it up or whatnot, we'll have ways. But yeah, the protocol system should drive you to find. Also, last thing I'll say here, because I don't want to keep yapping. One of the things that I care about is whenever the player finds something. If you play some of these games, you find a heart container. And when you find the heart container, you're like, oh, this is 1 out of 4. And I get my reward when I get the 1 out of 4. And when I get that reward, I got 1 unit of health. And if the enemies are doing 2 damage to you, it kind of doesn't matter too much. A little jab there, but you get my point. If you are not really getting a lot of benefit out of it, it feels good, but it's not like big of a deal. But what if you find Echo and you have 8 calls? You just got a reward that, you found three things, right? It took you 3 things. But once you found it, you gained a ton of content. Tons of content, right? Now you're able to do all that stuff because you have all these new tools to play with. So that's hopefully the dream, right? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Everything froze for a moment and
sorry.
You're totally fine.
Okay.
So I am interested in that, and you keyed on something kind of interesting there of talking about how collectibles work in terms of power-ups. What about collectibles in terms of maybe achievement or anything like that? Do you care about that kind of stuff? Is that something you like in the kind of game of like maybe a challenge area? For instance, the Path of Pain in Hollow Knight. Like, is that something that you are interested in having in this?
So yes, we're doing something that we don't know exactly how it will be received, but I really like it. So one of the concepts is whenever you get a new protocol, you will get like pretty much like you'll be directed to a place where that protocol you'll get to like showcase it. So if you go into that room, the game will tell you you're forced to use Echo Breaker now. It'll transform you into Echo Breaker, and then it'll tell you a little bit about it, and then it's like a training room. Imagine it like that. But it's a showcase room where you get to feel the power of Echo Breaker, right? But that is the start of very well thought out challenge versions of that. So maybe there is a challenge version for each protocol, and maybe that makes it really exciting and really interesting because it's not only platforming, it's also like dealing with the tools that the game give you, and then you could kind of figure out how to use that protocol to its best advantage. And maybe maybe it's not like your most preferred thing to use, but you at least get to do it one time. The reason why we don't completely love that is because certain people really don't like a certain playstyle. And I don't want to tell them, hey, in order for you to 100% this game, you have to do something you don't want to do. But I'm torn because I feel like the more we give people an opportunity to like something, they might try it and they might really like it.
Yeah.
So it's I'm really torn about that. But in terms of achievements, there are things that we want to do that are very, very. I mean, we're not doing like what you were doing, which is like hiding puzzles in the entire game. I mean, of course, if you guys want to help me, we could come up with some of them. But what we are doing,
if you want to, I'm down because that's super fun, man. I love building ARGs. that's I've got the one that we've got now is I don't know, it's massive. I'll send it over to you.
I'd be excited to put something because the game's code and whatnot, so we have to have something. But the main thing we do want to do is have something that kind of uses the achievements to tell part of the story. So,
I
for
posted
example,
ours in chat for
there's
that.
an achievement that I want to have, and the achievement will be called something like "Together We Are Mighty." That's all I'll say, right? But it's something like when you get the achievement, you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I get it." Like something like that that is
You want
soft and
hidden
is very
achievements.
gentle.
Yeah. You want hidden
Yeah, but
achievements.
it's it makes you feel like okay, the achievement told me the story because the name of the achievement you're gonna see it there and be like, oh, that's what that was or something like that. So it's not too much about like making it very difficult, but there's also something that people have been asking for, which is like recoloring Zura, like being able to like change her clothes and whatnot. This is for a pain because people don't really know how expensive it is to like put like little shoes on her to change her shoes. We got to do all 2,000 frames of
It's a
animation again.
massive amount of work.
Um,
It's a huge,
yeah,
huge amount of work.
but recolors we could try to do like maybe make like her skirt a little different color or something like that. We could do some of that, but it's very difficult for sure. So the short answer, yes, we want to do a bunch of cool stuff. We want it to be thematical to the story. So maybe unlocking tracks or songs that are not available, unlocking more protocols, things like that, and some
That's super
aesthetic
nice.
stuff for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's super nice. The idea of unlocking like different music and maybe having like a music box somewhere that I could just jam out to whatever songs I like from the game. I'm actually interested, like, how extensive is your OST currently?
So it's not very long right now, but we are looking to make. I mean, the dream is to make at least 60 minutes of music end to end, which is quite a lot.
Mhm.
It's a lot, but there are games with more. But that's like our minimum. Like, really, we'd want to have like at least 60 minutes of completely new tracks. But we are in the Kickstarter, for example. I talked to the um, composer from one of the tracks of Pseudo Regalia, for example, and I want to like put him in the like as a guest, composer. And I also talked to Tiago, which is the composer from Constance that just came out. We're very big
Mhm.
fans of that team. They put a lot of good work into that game. So I want to do something like that to bring other people, because we're doing all this marketing and our game is promoting really well. Then bring these people that are spectacular, and say let's put a goal to see if we could get a couple of guest composers. Mostly indie is my hope, but we might get like a big person or whatnot here and there. But I would rather like see if I can send the elevator back down to some of the great indie composers that are doing amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our core goal with that. Yeah. So about 60 minutes at least. But one of the Kickstarter goals is doing full orchestral music, which I really want to do, but I feel like that's less important to people than like getting to consoles or faster dev. So we'll have that first, and then if we cross those lines, we will try to get to orchestral music and orchestral live music for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
No, this
that's the
is
hope.
you've got a really cool game plan for this, man, and I think it feels really awesome. Do you have any like? Chat was actually acting. Are there any other environments? Because the nature of live streaming is that they're constantly seeing like new people are coming in, other people are leaving, that kind of stuff. Is there any other like
Oh,
environments that
of
you can show
course.
off? Because
Yeah,
there's a bunch of people coming in. They're like, it's only a grid. I'm like, no, it's not.
yeah. I'm so sorry. So we could go
No,
back to
you're
the other
good.
one for a little bit while we yap.
Yeah,
Let me
let me
then
end
turn off this
this.
stream and we'll go to the
There
other
we
one.
go. Oop.
Yeah, so going back here, something we want to do that I really want to do now that Ilya's here in the chat and we've talked about it a little bit is in terms of New Game Plus and stuff like that, I have like this, I think something that I need to learn to let go of. But I
Mhm.
have an obsession that I want everyone to be able to finish everything 100% the game in the first run. I don't like the idea of forcing people to play a Metroidvania twice because most of the magic is going to go away, and I think that's a big deal. So we currently have 3 endings that we're thinking about that we might do. There might be
Mhm.
more stuff later on, but at least those 3, you can get them all in one playthrough in a way that makes sense. It's not like you're loading a save and we're finding ways to. It's a very creative.
I was going to say, how do you have an ending that is not an ending if you can get all 3 endings, right? Like that's
I could
fascinating.
tell you if you want. It's already revealed and people know about
Nah.
it, but
Oh, they already know.
well, not about the
Ah.
endings. Not about the endings. Not about the endings for sure. We
I
have a
think that's
system in the game
I
Go
think
ahead.
that's really interesting. The idea,
Yeah.
because like most games are like, oh, reload your save, try the different route, right? You know, like, so yeah, no, talk a little bit about this. That seems
Yeah.
fascinating as hell.
So I'll tell you super quick, a tiny little bit of lore. I'm gonna put myself on here for 1 minute. I guess very self-conscious guy. I love this game too much. So okay, 1 minute. So this this is kind of what we're thinking about. So in the World Shape Protocol, the whole idea is that this code that's out there, the Shape Protocol only has like one instruction. It's only one line of code: eradicate humanity. That's all it wants to do. We don't know why, we don't know what it's trying to do, but it's changing the universe to try to hunt down and eradicate humanity. There's a lot of reasons for that, it's pretty beautiful once you figure it all out, but that's what's going on. This malicious thing is trying to eradicate humanity. It doesn't have any evil, it just has one line of code, and it wants to execute it, and that's all it's going to do. So as the start of the story happens, humans go and hide, right? And they hide in these things called bastions. There's this ginormous Shadow of the Colossus robots that somehow are impossible to find. That's part of the craziness of it. So you're in this huge robot that looks like a mountain, or you might be in another robot that is like flying in the sky and looks like a cloud, and you can't find them. But they're just majestic robots where humans are hiding and they can't be found. But slowly and surely, the enemies, they called the saviors, it's like they think they're the saviors, and they are hunting you down, and that's their goal. So the entire game, you are the hunted. If you're looking at Mega Man X, we are the Mavericks. We're the bad dudes here, in terms of like how the world sees us, right? So we're being hunted. That's my minute. So I guess where all that comes into play is there is each one of these bastions. There's many of them. I won't tell you how many, but these bastions, humans had to separate, right? And they had to discommunicate from one another to not be found. So each one of them created this project. We'll call it Project Requiem, where they're saying, we're going to come up with a solution. And each one of them is creating some solution. But we don't know what they are. Only they know. So whenever we go to these bastions, we're going to figure out what these people did to try to stop the Shape Protocol. And one of the solutions is Zura, which is our main character, which is a completely different approach to the problem. It's like, we'll create a being that can modulate it. And like you see here in this image, like she's like already shaded. So you start the game knowing that you're already part of this thing and you're probably going to die.
Yeah.
Like this is already in you. But then some other bastion, and I'll give you this last one, what I love, which has to do with what your question. There's another one that's called Unison. They created this huge system that is a musical system that pretty much it's an AI made out of the code of the universe. Imagine it like that. And it's like, like the idea of like the the word of this, like have you seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or read the books?
Dude,
like,
yes. Going all the way back to the radio show. Like
computer.
I'm a big nerd for that. All right.
So it's that kind of system. It's a lot more it's less comical, but it figures out what's the solution, and it gets really defeated. It's like, you don't want it. Like, you don't want the solution. You really don't want it. So it's a system that's incredibly powerful, but it has the ability to change what happened a little bit. It has like some ability to mess with the code and change a couple of lines. So during the game, you're going to be able to play two versions of the game in real time. So you'll be able to do what we call the shade version and also the dawn version. An example of this would be, I'll use Heartbound as an example. When you start the game and you go to the door and, there's a version of it that you open the door and you go to like the room where you see the shadow at the beginning of the demo. Or you might walk by and keep going, right? That's the choice. What we want is there's no button. There's no button to choose. You're going to see like some sort of like border on your screen that tells you you're making a choice, but you don't know what the choice is. I really love that. It's just happening and you're like, okay, this is a moment that is important, but whatever choice I make, I have to live with for a little while.
No, I understand.
So let's say you open the door and something happens. In our game, I'll give you an example that's not necessarily real, but this is an example that I use in conversations. Imagine you have a friend, like someone of the story that's like endearing and you love them so much and they're great and they're like such a cool character, and there's an entire city and you have to choose which one of them is going to die. Like either your friend goes away or the entire city goes away. If you choose your friend and you go to the biome of the city, there's no city there. The shops are gone, the people are gone, they're gone. They're dead. If there was something you could do there that was important, you can't do it. So people will say, oh, that really sucks. Yeah, it does. I don't want that. So what happens is whenever you play the story on you saving your friend, once that's over and you finish that part, you know a little bit of the consequence. You don't know the entire consequence. You just know you're saving your friend. Then the world would glitch, and Unison would say, before, see the other side before you choose. And then you get to play the other side. And I always thought that kind of sucks in the way that if I know what happens, then I won't choose. Let me tell you, Thor, whenever you know the consequence of both of your choices, it is 10 times as painful.
Yeah.
Now you're saying, I know what's going to happen, and I know I have to choose between my friend or the city, right? And if I eradicate the city, it's gone. However, the cool thing about the system is eventually, because the system is like that computer from Hitchhikers, you can go to the system and tell it. It shows you like a tree, like a circuit tree, and it tells you want to change what happened. I can change it for you. It's not going to change anything. You're still going to lose. It's a very depressive computer. But pretty much you can choose and then say, oh no, my friend didn't die. My friend passed away, and then the city is fine. So then the world will change, and you get to play the consequences. You can change it whenever you want to. So the idea is it lets us do less complex level design, and it lets us make more areas that are amazing. But it also lets the player see both stories and know that you're the only one that knows this is happening. So your character is the only one that's aware of all the situations.
So at any time, not just at the time of the choice, but you can change it later on if you want to?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point.
That's fascinating.
So the endings are based on that talent like that. Imagine a circuitry that looks like an actual tree. So you get to choose. You get to say, I'm going to choose all the red nodes, which are the shade nodes. And I get that ending. And then you get to choose all the blue nodes, and you get the blue ending. And there's something else you got to do. I don't know what you need to do in order to get another ending. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, the concept is, it's not that difficult. It's super easy. But you're not changing time. This is where programmers will get a kick out of this game. You're not changing time. You're recompiling the universe. So these people do not know because they were never there.
Yeah,
but you are hyper aware. So let's say you chose that your friend dies and you go and save the city.
So you're effectively
and then you go
like
back.
An operator. That's cool.
Yeah.
I dig that.
When you go back and change it and make your friend be there, of course Zura's going to hug them. And it's going to be like, I'm so happy you're here. And they're like, what the hell is your problem? Like, I didn't.
They wouldn't know. Yeah.
What? So, but it's the beautiful thing of like, are other people that are aware that this is happening? And does this affect everything? And are we really that powerful to change the entire universe? And let's say we are not. What are the consequences of that? So it's a good way for us to get more out of our world. To be honest, like we can make, I don't know, like 10 to 15 biomes, and then use the system to add a lot more gameplay, without having to like make another 10 to 15 biomes, right? So it's a really good, interesting system. We'll see. I know Turtle Holder is here, my Ilya. I know he's probably stressing out that this is one of the systems that maybe we're thinking of cutting. Because it's a lot of work, but I really wanted to try to get it. So we'll put it on the Kickstarter, see if we can get it done.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot of yapping. So let me.
Honestly, I think this is fantastic. I love the idea of being able to swap that. I'm conceptually as a player, I'm like, that's cool as hell. That's a really interesting way to accomplish this. And then as someone who makes things, I'm like, how do you do that in a way where the choice still feels impactful? Where it technically doesn't run over its own feet as you go. Like, I'm interested to see how you guys tackle that problem, because that's really cool. Like, the idea of being able to experience all of those simultaneously is quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Like a part of the most exciting part of the game is figuring out how to do that, and in a way that feels natural, and that players are not thinking that it's just a gimmick. It's really like a very contextually powerful thing to be able to do. So I really hope that people really enjoy it, and they get a chance to see a bunch of things happen in the world that are not just this very simple story in a straight line kind of thing, but then there's also consequences to all of it, for sure.
I'm interested, how do you get players at that point when you're telling a story in that way, where the consequences aren't permanent, where the choices aren't permanent, can be remade at any moment? How do you stop the player from getting emotionally disconnected from their choices in that way? Because I feel like a character that has unlimited power, you just, you turn into Dr. Manhattan at some point where you're like, none of this matters. I can just unmake reality.
Yes, that's a really good question. So there's a ton to that. And one of the ways is, in terms of the writing that we're trying to put together for the game, you can never get both things to happen at once. Never. There's no situation in which you could get both outcomes. So you can only get one outcome at a time, right? The world only can be forced to one version. So at every point you're losing something, but your character lives through all of it, and then there's also moments where Unison, for reasons you guys will discover in the game, doesn't create the save point, right? So you might have a loss, right? Let's say something happens, and like Zura is like begging, like change it, but you can't for reasons we'll discover, right? So there are moments where the fact that you can make these changes will make the moments where you can't incredibly painful, because you maybe take your powers for granted at some point, but they're not your powers, they're the powers of Unison, and it chooses in ways you can't really create a pattern out of. But most of the choices it gives you are incredibly painful, and they're meant to be, I wouldn't say sad, because I think like the game is going to have some nostalgia and like definitely like melancholy. That it's a if I was to say something important about the game, is that this game, while it's all robots and all that stuff, the only thing that I really deeply care about the game doing is the game is a love letter to humanity. So this is the idea of like, what is left behind to our creations when we're not here, and how much will they miss us? Like these replicas, they adore us, they love us, they miss us. We imagine if you met your creator and out of nowhere they're gone, right? So the relationship between replicas and humans was great. So they missed their creator. What does that look like in terms of a world that now you're doing everything you can to save them, but you're coming short. Yeah. So I think it's also like a good way to explain that technology is not infallible, and progress has its own limitations, but not a statement of fact, just a concept to think about. So in terms of the point you were making, I do think like we will be able to make it so that you won't feel that it doesn't matter, but you also won't be able to get I would say married to one timeline, because as you're changing things, you might want to try the other things, and if you want to try the other things, you will have to make some changes, and then you'll have to lose something. So I think that trade will keep the game honest, but as we're building it, we'll show it to people and see what people think. Right now, when I have the choices that I have written, they're all very sad, so I need to come up with choices that are not that sad. But the sad ones, there's no way you're going to feel okay with either of the outcomes.
I would always say it's okay if it's sad. Like, if you've played through Expedition 33, right? Like,
yeah,
it is okay to tell that story, and I think that a lot of players understand that, and it makes it more impactful. So I think at the end of the day is, I don't care if I'm happy at the end of the story. I care if I remember it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think like we will have like the endings themselves, like there are of course variations that not all of them are sad, but the Unison choices tend to be really painful. Like, and I think that's like I wouldn't say a requirement of the system, but it's kind of important that you don't feel like there's a version of the world that's better than the other one, because that definitely would make you like choose one over the other. And we definitely want like all the choices are there's some sacrifice that you have to make that it was going to have an impact in gameplay.
Yeah.
And whatever that is, it's going to feel like you could have done something about it, but you couldn't, right? Because you can go and change it, but you'll always be on the other version, right? So it'll always be this constant struggle of what should be the reality. Do I have the authority to do this? Should I be doing this? Like, should I be playing God like this? But
if you have a little bit more time, if you were a little bit stronger, if you were a little bit faster, kind of a feel.
Exactly.
You're never
that's
quite
a little bit
there.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also like there's characters I could tell you a little bit of. For example, these guys that you see here, those little snacklets. They are like I said before, they merge and they're very dangerous. They're intentionally cute and they're just very, very dangerous. But right now, I mean, you could just pop them and they're popcorn enemies. But eventually, if you just let them do their thing, they're not. One of the things that I really like is the idea that we have like a character in the story. We've revealed them in our Discord that it's like a character from the Snacklets, and he's like he's someone that you get to meet, and his name is Opie. He's like this tiny little guy, and he has this delusions of grandeur. I don't know if you read Don Quixote, but the guy that fighting the windmills. So imagine this tiny little thing that he is just obsessed with the idea that he is mighty. He's obsessed with it. So you get this character that he thinks he can face everything, but he's just tiny and small, and he can't really do very much. But he's just lucky. So let's say he's gonna fight someone, and if someone is gonna hit them, and when they're gonna hit him, he like cowers and covers his head. But then on over, Zura goes and cuts them in half. When he opens his eyes, he thinks he did that. So he's like, you see, I'm mighty. So, there are characters in the story that are meant to be, they're not really comic reliefs, but they're meant to be characters that give you that this world is wonderful. It's not just a sad world where, humanity is disappearing. It's a little bit more in the sense of there's a ton to see in the world, and we want you to be able to explore that and feel like you have a consequence in the world, but the world has its own plan, and it's not only about you, for sure. That's one of my biggest dreams with the story.
So, I've got a couple of hard questions next up. Oh, wait.
It crashed.
Break. It crashed. All right.
Yep. Probably got in the wall.
The questions were too hard. The game ran away. I understand.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Yeah, it's fair.
Go ahead and ask while I load this again. Go ahead.
So, this is always going to be a really difficult one, and I've asked almost every dev for Indiecember so far, and I need you to call your baby ugly for a moment. What do you think your game does the worst? Out of all of the systems that you have, all the features you have, what is the one that you don't like, or the one that you wish you could remake? Maybe you couldn't remake it now. It's too late. Anything.
That's a really, really good question. Let me think about that.
It's the hardest one because everybody, when they get up on stream or when they're showing off their game, they're trying to showcase something. They only talk about the things that are the best, right?
Yeah.
I'm interested in what is it that bothers you? What's the thing that you would do differently? The other route.
yeah, for sure. The other route, the shade side of it.
Yeah.
In my mind, I would say my biggest. You're gonna make me emotional, dude. That's not good. I don't want to get emotional here on stream. But
Pirate Software made the dev cry.
yeah, it gets me. It gets me a lot. But I'll tell you this, and I think you not a lot of people are gonna connect with this, but I hope that over time, if people try to make anything, their game or whatever, it doesn't have to be a game, they'll connect with us. Something that happens when you're making a game, and I'm not saying categorically, but this happened to me, is people say like, oh, making a game is like, this or that or the other. It's like, swimming against the current and whatever. But for me, the only analogy I could use that works for me is I am in the gallery of a hospital, and there is my child, like this game, my child is in an operating room, and I'm behind the glass. And I'm looking at them, and I know they're struggling, and they need me, right? But I don't know how to do open heart surgery, right? So there's people like you, then they go and they teach themselves because they think I can, my child needs me, I will learn, right? I have certain limitations that don't let me, but I want to, right? But what do? Any father would then run out of that room and go to the street, and they would start asking anyone in the street, do you know how to do open heart surgery? And that is the indie dilemma of like, do you keep your pride or do you save your child, right? And I think like I've been good at letting go of that pride and saying, I am going to save my child over anything. I'm going to save them. So what I do, I find Ilya, this freaking guy, he's in the chat here, he's insane. But he would work with no, he's another guy that's really awesome.
Okay.
But the turtle guy, the turtle dude, he's
Okay.
crazy good. He's just so passionate. He'll work 24 hours if he has to. He's just amazing. But you find these people because you run out of this room and you tell people about your child and you tell them honestly. You tell them with care. And they say, I got you. And they'll come in there and they'll get into that room, right? And that's how I found my entire team. So you have everyone in that team that's just spectacular. My guys, I don't know if you know this, but my guys come from, which they don't have any reason to be here. They come from 9 Years of Shadows, Mariachi Legends, Ember Knights, LC. They come from like just great games. They don't have any reason to be dealing with a guy that's making their first game. But there's something about like the story of that child that they go like, we gotta save it. Now, why am I telling you this? To answer your question. At some point, Ilya looks at me from the other side of that glass, and he looks at me, and this is where I get emotional, but he looks at me, he says like, Kendall, you don't have the resources to save all of her. We have to cut. And it's a very literal cut. It's like, something's gotta go. So I have a document. The only thing I document well, I'm very bad at documenting. The only thing I have documented well is everything we've cut out of the game. It hurts me primally. I remember what I was wearing the day that we cut the first thing, which was the harmonies of the game. The first time we cut that, I remember that day. I remember what I was wearing. I remember everything. I remember going to sleep and like just thinking like I took something away from my child because I'm inadequate. I don't have the resources to make this thing that I love. So if to answer your question, I would want to take that document and go through it, and then have the resources to make those things that I don't have. But that's an unfair thing because that's saying everything that's in the game is perfect. It's not. We've cut entire areas. So we had 15 biomes, and we don't have the money to do 15 biomes, so we've gone down to like 10 or 8 or whatnot. And the more we cut, the more I feel like my child is losing something. They're left behind. And then the problem is people love what I'm showing them. Mm-hmm. And that hurts me even more, right? Because that's what makes me emotional, because people love what we're showing them, and I'm like, you're getting 1% of what I can make. And when I talk to other indies, they don't think about it that dramatically, but they feel the same way. This is a commonplace. And then if you allow me to crash out, if you don't want me to talk about it, I can.
No, I'm going to
crash out for a moment.
I completely resonate what you're saying.
I'm going to crash out for a fucking moment here because it upsets me. And then I I know right now that I'm going to make this game and I'm going to save this child no matter what. I'm going to do that. But I know I'm not the right father. So when I'm done with it and she's safe, I will put it in your hands, and you guys are the parents. You guys are going to enjoy it. You guys are going to give her the life I can't give her, because I'm done. Like, that's my job. My job is to save her. But then I'm going to walk out of that fucking hospital. And you know what I'm going to be really angry about? That on the other side of that street, you know what's on that side of the street? A ginormous, gigantic hospital that says AAA.
Yeah.
And it's going to hurt me in ways that I can't explain. Not because they're doing anything wrong. I don't want to, I don't think that's the point. But they have the resources to make games better than this. Make those games. Go make them, right? Make those games. And if not, support indies. Like, that's kind of what I want to say. So there are some of those big companies that are doing that work. And that's the people that I admire. They're coming and like, the Ender Magnolia guys. They are like taking indies and they're showcasing them on Twitter. Like, send the elevator back down to people, because you have the resources. So I hope that more people do what you're doing, and other people are doing, and take the time to. It's not like we want charity. We just want to save our child, and that's all we want. So whenever we get a chance to do it, we're gonna take it. So do I resent that, there's games out there being made for billions of dollars that flop? Of course I resent that, because I don't have not even enough to get music for my game. So I don't know. I'm sorry for the crash out. I know that's like a little bit outside of the scope of what we're talking about, but I just hope the industry changes that way for sure.
Your statement there is why we're doing this. That's not a bad thing to feel that way in any possible way. This is why we're doing this event. Like, I came from AAA and I left for a reason. And it's because they had the resources, but they missed the heart, or they didn't empower the people who had it. And the things that they cut weren't just features. They were the people who cared. And that's exactly why I work in indie now. 100%. Yeah. So I get it.
It definitely it gets to me, but there's games out there that I could rant like 20 of them, 30 of them. Are just spectacular games that they're just nowhere to be found. Not because they don't have luck or this or that or the other, because there is some luck to all this game, to making something, but it's just because we can't afford to go to put our game in like some showcase that is charging us, by the way, $25,000 to show your trailer. These are real numbers, quotes that I've gotten, real things.
They do. Yeah.
So I mean, what are you gonna do? Like,
that was the other thing too, is we had people coming up to us and being like, how many thousands is it going to cost us? And I was like, it's free. And they're just like, what? And I was like, that's what the point of this is.
I was concerned. I was like, I don't want to embarrass myself, and every dollar that I put into the game goes to my people. So and just so you know, I'm it doesn't matter, but I'm from Puerto Rico. And my culture, we don't like to ask for anything. So making the Kickstarter, just making the page,
it feels bad.
It took me like 2 months. I hate the idea of asking. But what am I supposed to do if I want to make the thing that people want? Because I could have, the original budget of the game was like, I don't know, 5 times smaller. And we just said, we'll just make a cute game, you know. And then out of nowhere, people are like, they're dreaming about it. People are calling us like freaking, what is it? Somebody's saying like, oh, you guys are the spiritual successor of Mega Man. I don't want that. I don't want that. Because those people are hurt, dude. Like, have you seen the Mega Man community? They haven't gotten a game that they can stand behind for so long. And I want them to have a home. But I don't want to replace their game because I want them to love the thing.
Yeah, it's not only that too. It's you're going to offer them a different experience. It may be reminiscent of Mega Man, but if they look at it through the lens of Mega Man, they're not going to get the same thing. It's not even going to fill the hole that they have from that entire series of just not getting a new Mega Man game. You know, so like I get that. I get that more than you could possibly know, man.
Of course, and I see where you're coming from, and I also see what your community does, like with other games, like. It's important because these people, like we making games, we want to give you something that you'll remember. Like we want to make something that you won't forget. But we also are constantly fighting in that operating room to not cut because it's crazy. Like I saw some of the indie stuff that you put together the last few days, and some of the guys, I could hear it in their voice. Like they're like, this is what I could show you. This is what I could show you. But there's... I wish I could do more, but this is what I could do. Whenever you're faced with people that don't have that problem, then you're saying, then yeah, I hold you accountable to making something great. Because yeah, if you have the resources to make it great. And I think that's maybe a little bit too judgmental because there's many circumstances. But my goal is that, you know, the more we, this is why I keep saying, you know, together we are mighty. We're coming, man. We're on our way. We're on our way. Like indies are making it, starting to move up in the ladder of greatness. I mean, I don't think we're starting. We've been there for a while. But,
it's been there. It's been the indie renaissance for the last several years, and it's something I've talked about quite a lot. Is the moment we started seeing AAA move towards storefronts over experiences, more towards microtransactions over fun. Over anything else, locking content behind payments before you have a good game experience with the player. It started the indie renaissance, and then immediately that started taking off, not just here, but all over the world, because we had engines like Godot or GameMaker or Unity, where it was easier than ever before to build something without having to have a publisher hold your hand through it, because you don't need a physical piece of media in order to play a game anymore. You don't have to be on store shelves. You could be digitally all over the world instantly for no extra money. Steam and other platforms like this have allowed that indie renaissance to go forward, and the engines that run it behind that, such as, like I said, with Unity and Unreal and everything else that's going on, allowed us to have the tools to build those things without having to pay extra money. Like, indie is going to win hands down because of that, because unfortunately, AAA is in golden handcuffs. They have to make that money up front to support the gigantic machine that they have there, and if they don't do it, then they have to make cuts, and those cuts are not just game cuts. They're all the jobs that go into it. I've been there for that, man. It's awful. It's awful.
I can empathize with AAA from the side of that. Artistry's not easy, so I don't want to hate on it. I don't. That's not my vibe, right? But it's not either. That's not what you're saying either, right? What I think
it's never the artists, it's never the programmers, it's never the designers. It's just business. And that's the worst part. I mean,
but I'll ask you this, and this is like an honest question that I have for most devs. Like, if you were, I mean, I would say, 9.5 out of 10 in Excel. I'm very, very good at managing a freaking spreadsheet. If I ran my game like a spreadsheet, it would kind of work out. So if you're running your game like a spreadsheet, maybe you're not that good at it. Maybe, I don't know. Like, there's got to be some level of acceptance of that. Like, whenever you're making something that is art, I shouldn't have come up with this world cut. That shouldn't be me. This stuff. I mean, maybe I'm overhyping it, but this is AAA stuff. This shouldn't be me. Like, this shouldn't be some dude that's like, making their first game and say, oh, maybe we could cut the world in half and cut projectiles. And this should be like a dream that is funded by something much greater than us.
But it wasn't.
So, I mean, maybe that's my hope. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is it wasn't. It was funded by you, and like, that's right now in all of media, that's the role of indies, is to try things that AAA is too afraid to do because it's a risky investment. It's something no one's seen before, and because no one's seen it before, it's too expensive to try. Because if they haven't done it, they don't have enough data to make enough money to do it again, or to run the entire machine. Risk lies on indie. And the thing is a lot of people see it as, oh, indies are always going to be better. There are a million broken dreams of games outside of the gems that exist like this. A million of them. Of things that were tried and just didn't work. But the point of indie as a whole is that it can make those decisions, try those weird things, and then build something unique and beautiful like this. And that's why you take the risks. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it shows you something completely new that you've never seen before.
I think like that, not only that, like there's also, that's the exact point, right? Yeah. Going from there forward, what do we do with the result of the artistry? So for example, Ilya, my developer that's here, I told him, like, you're going to apply to GDC. You're going to apply. It's going to, like, just, you're going to do it. And we did, of course, you know, we at that point we weren't famous, of course, so nobody's going to say yes. But you know, I really wanted him to go over to GDC and open Godot and show everyone how the world cut works end to end.
Yep.
And people would say, that's crazy. You're going to freaking, tell people your sauce? Yes, because I owe it to people. Making games, and I'm once again, this sounds like I'm just too, this is my honest belief, is that making games is one of the most, you know, it's this, people hate when I say this. It's not the hardest thing I've ever done. Let's first get that straight. It's not the hardest thing I've ever done. I'm sure that, you know, if you're a father, being a father is harder than making a game. Go make a game. Go make a game. If you want to make something at this scale, maybe, yeah, it'll be very difficult, but making a game is not the hardest thing you'll ever do. Don't glorify. Don't let it feel like, oh, it's unattainable. No, some devs are crazy cool, but it's not that difficult. It's very difficult. But it's not difficult enough for you to say, I'll never do it, right?
Yep.
So I just hope that people understand that. But when you look at that, then if I can make it easier for you, if I could say, you want to make something like this and do it better than me, here it is. Learn from it, do it better. There's a game, I didn't know this exists. It's called, made by someone called Nitrom. It's called Fault Line. When we released our trailer the first time, somebody brought Fault Line up. So, oh, this is like Fault Line. It's a game made, I don't know how many years ago. I think probably over a decade ago. It's made in Flash Store, and it does what we do here. It cuts the world in half. It does a bunch. Of course, it's a puzzle game. Yeah, it's crazy.
Of course,
what do you think?
I bet it was a Newgrounds game back in the day, dude.
Crazy, that's wild. Just crazy. So people reach out to me and say, "Oh, this is like Nitrom, but like into Metroidvania, right?" And I told them honestly, "Hey, I didn't know that game existed."
Yeah, what is that game?
Bad because I wish I could have looked at it before we designed this because it's such a good idea. But every time somebody brings it up, I give credit to the guy. I was the first to do it in this way, but this was the first guy to like dream it up. Go to him and tell him, thank you for making the indie scene better. I just was ignorant that it existed, but it's not because of my pride. It's like, oh, I came up with it. I look at it, and every time I say this game did it first and better in terms of like the scale of like crazy. Like, look at that game when you can. What they do, they don't do one cut. They do like 5 or 6 or shit like the crazy stuff. So, but of course, you know, we don't want to make that game, and we're not a puzzle game. So we are, but you look at someone that says, oh, this has been done in like Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. No, cutting a box in half is not cutting a world in half. Like, so this is true indie innovation. So there's 2 lines there. I take some of it with a lot of passion and accept it, but there's some other side that I go like, yeah, no. This is comparable, but what we're making is true innovation. And we want other people to do it. So let's say tomorrow somebody from the chat makes a game that has this mechanic and it's better. Let's go. Send it to me. Let me share it on my. Why not? Like, why would I? There's enough. There are 100,000 games on Steam. We're currently rated, Thor, in the top 600 games in the world. I don't even know how this happened. So why would I be worried that somebody wants to do something, as long as they're not copying, all right, they don't lose their artistry, right? I just want them to make something they love. If you love it, make it. Do the thing. Together, we are mighty. Just don't forget to send the elevator back down. That's all I'm asking. Yep. Don't forget to do that.
By the way, I got to show this. I just looked up Fault Line. This launched in 2011. And It is exactly the same mechanic, but
How crazy is that?
It's insane to think about
Show
the
it to
fact that
people.
this.
It's
I'm going to
insane.
show it. I'm going to show this. The fact that
Look
it
at
came out in 2011 in Flash. Let me do this. Look at this. But look, they have multiple splits.
I don't think it's out there. Look at this insanity.
Like, that's so
Look at this
wild,
insanity.
dude. In Flash. Like, of all the
Yeah.
things, exact same mechanic. But that's the thing is, you know, time is a river and history repeats. That's wild. That is actually
It's
wild to see.
insane. And these people deserve the praise. So when people ask me like, oh, like I've never seen this before, you know what I tell them? Thank you. It hasn't been done in a Metroidvania, but there's
Yep.
this guy over here that did it I don't know how many years ago. Go check him out. And people go and say, but dude, like, why can't you just like take the compliment? Because we
It's
are
not yours.
one.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
together we are mighty, not on your own. Go and tell them about the game, and they'll go and see it. That's a different implementation, by the way. It looks similar, but it's incredibly different. And by the way, theirs is harder. Theirs is harder to do because they're in Flash. They don't have shaders like
You
we
have to do that in action script, dude. Like,
Yeah.
like, all right.
They're in action script. They're moving shit around and then, like doing I don't know how many lines of code to get that to work programmatically, quickly, beautifully, responsively. Crazy. So of course our implementation, I'm not gonna like say. I mean, what we're doing is, you know, Ilya's a genius. Like what's happening here is completely different foundationally, and it's substantially better programmatically. But man, who cares? They deserve the praise. This is just crazy. So I just hope that we can do that for other games. But in terms of like, you know, whenever you see our first trailer, I don't know if you've seen the first trailer, but in the first trailer at the end of it, like Zura jumps and throws like a spear at the wolf, and it's like this very beautiful like ending. In that moment, that is reminiscent. That's intentionally saying like an homage to Valkyrie Profile. You know, Nivelle and Balesti from Valkyrie Profile, and a lot of people point that out, right? I had a lot of people tell me, Kendall, don't put something like that because you're kind of copying. You know, I've never, not once in 6 months have I heard that comment. I've only heard people saying like, oh, that's like Nivelle and Balesti. That's so awesome. Thank you for like, so why would I downgrade humanity and think that they're going to be evil where maybe they won't, right? Maybe they won't. So I just got to do what I want to do and get it out there and then love the people that love it, and the people that don't, you know, they'll come, but you have no idea that.
I mean, that's pretty common though. Like I think the thing
Yeah.
that's really interesting is a lot of people don't realize in the process of creation, we pull on all of our history, everything that we've ever learned, anything we've ever done, every movie we've ever watched, every reference we've ever had, all the memes, everything. And it creates the unique thing that we build out of it. You know, that's how that goes. And it's funny because people are like, oh, don't do that. It was done here in this different way. Yeah, and they pulled it from something before them. And they pulled it from something before them before that. Oh, did you get owned?
Poor little girl. Poor little girl. I'm abusing her. That's not right.
That's funny. That's really funny.
I'm making her work too fast. Yeah. But I mean,
yeah,
you're right.
It's all we all just steal from each other, you know, and it's we all sit on the shoulders of giants of, you know, everything going all the way back to
Disappear.
What was that?
I made that disappear. I shouldn't be there.
Oh
my god. Oh god. Yeah.
But that's how that goes, you know, like we
Yeah.
all build off the shoulders of giants, and that's how that should be, you know. Like our entire community is built around sharing as much knowledge as possible. Why there's no paywalls or any bullshit in the way on the Discord. When I've seen so many examples of like, oh yeah, you could be a developer, give me $19.99 a month, you know, like this ridiculous stuff like that, you know. Just go make stuff.
Yeah.
Do the game jams. Join in on that stuff. Talk to somebody in the community. Learn something. Because it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life, whether you start making games afterwards or not. Share knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said before, like our game at the beginning was just a very, very pretty pixel art game. That's what it was, right? And we had the Unison system, and we said, oh, how cool would it be if people could change, like, how the world's compiled? You can't explain that. Like, that's hard to explain. So you're saying, like, oh, I'm like Chrono Trigger, but in the future. Well, they're already in the future, by the way. But, you know, whatever. It's just not that.
Well, kind of.
It's whatever. So whenever I sat with those guys from Greek, like, I needed that, like, where's the hook? Like, what are you talking about? Like, who are you? Like, you're saying, like, you know, we need meaningful decisions. That's been like the gaming world for 10 years before you. Go make something awesome. And I'm like, okay, well, then I go to Ilya, and Ilya's like, I can imagine him like just pressing his face. I go, oh my god, this freaking guy doesn't understand how difficult it's what he's asking. But that's I think that's where um, being from another industry, completely, I add a little bit of value because I have no context, so I can ask for the most ridiculous, insane things, and Ilya just has to deal with me. But yeah, I mean it's a good thing. The way I explain it to everyone is if you're going into like if you've never dealt with the farming industry, for example, and you don't know how it works, you might show up at a farm, and they might have like a bunch of crops, and they have a scarecrow, and you look at it and you just go like, what is that? And they'll be like, that's a scarecrow. I'm like, what is it for?
Yeah, what does it do?
To scare the crows, dude. To scare the crows. And then at that point, they're looking at you like, you're such an idiot. But then what do I do? Because my brain, I don't know anything, and I'm, I wouldn't say humble, but I'm aware enough to ask the questions. I look around and say, there's no trees around here. They haven't been trees for 20 years. Where are the crows? Where do they live?
Yeah.
So maybe there are no crows anymore. And if you take out the scarecrow, you could use a machine to like automatically pick up all your crops, and maybe now you can plant 3 times more. And then people are like, oh, you know what? Maybe that can work. So it's a little bit of that. My stupid questions help us create things that haven't been done before because I have zero context. I've played enough games, but I don't know. I don't know what is possible. So as long as Ilya can deal with my my rants of like, we really need like this crazy thing to exist, and he's like, well, I'll try. And then 3 days later it exists, and he's like, oh yeah, it wasn't that hard. I'm like, well, it's hard for me. So, but yeah, no, definitely ignorance is valuable in this
Yes,
space,
it is.
I think.
Yeah,
if you use it well.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense completely, and I completely agree with you, man. Like, you have exactly the right outlook. Like, I resonate with that completely. More so than you know.
I think show you guys. I appreciate that. I mean, if there, I would like to see if there's maybe any questions there from the chat that I could answer, and then I could show you a little bit of Discord, like what the experiment to get your take on it, and then you guys can. I can let go because I don't want to keep you too long.
Sure. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, go for it.
Is there any questions or anything that I have to? Yeah.
Spam chat. Say the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do it because it was easy. We did it because we thought it would be easy. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of that. Yeah.
Will there be wigs that we can wear? Okay. Very good.
Yes. Probably not. But
when will you open the Kickstarter?
Oh, okay. So that's a big thing. Oh, this is where, yeah.
When will you let people give you money already? Like,
Oh my god. That affects me so much. But okay. So the current goal is we need to get at least 1,000 followers on Kickstarter. This is a conversation we've had with Kickstarter. In order to, and I can talk a little bit about publishers too, if you're okay with that, and what's going on with that. So we are self-funding right now. This is how it's working. So this is all coming from me. So I'm paying all of it with, like I said, when I got laid off, I got severance, and I'm using that severance for my savings to make the game. It's gonna run out. We can't like do this forever. So the current goal is to get. We're talking to Kickstarter to get to the goals that we want to get to just kind of fund the game in the smallest version. The norm is about 1,000 followers, which would get us to the numbers that we need. If we do it really quickly, so we need to fund it. No, we don't. Not only do we need 1,000 people, but then we need, when the Kickstarter opens, for it to be funded really, really quickly, which is very little. We're not asking for a lot in the initial ask, but we're going to need that to happen quickly, and then Kickstarter kind of promotes you a little bit, and it kind of goes out of control. Right? That's the hope. If we could get enough to do that, then we will not need a publisher. But Thor, I came here. You don't remember this, but you probably don't. But I came here to this chat on summer when we released the first trailer in the OTK Summer Expo. And I remember you gave me some thoughts about, like, my question to you was like, hey, can you watch my trailer? I don't know if we are like ready to get into a publisher. And you said you don't need a publisher. And in my mind I was like, well, that's an easy answer to say. But the more I thought about it, I was like, it's kind of going wild. Like today, I think this morning I went to sleep yesterday with I don't know how many wish lists. We woke up today with over 70,000 wish lists.
You don't need a
It's
publisher.
a crazy number to
You
imagine.
don't.
And
You're going to have 1 million publishers contacting you with 70,000 wish lists because they want to make money off of you. You don't need one. With 70,000, you do not need one. You just, like, I know that seems insane, but with 70,000 wish lists, you don't. At this level of velocity that you have, with this kind of a team that you have put together, with the fact that you're running a Kickstarter, you're not going to need one. The only thing that you would ever really need a publisher for at this point is maybe switching it into consoles. And even then, you'd make a deal not for the whole game, but maybe for the console version. Or maybe for localization. Yeah. Maybe, if you don't make enough money off of the sale of the game in English when you first launch it. And even then, man, like, I'd keep your game. Like, that's my honest advice on this. Keep your game. Keep the ownership of your game.
At this point, our goal is to self-fund. It's incredibly scary because, you know,
it is
my daughter's still in that hospital bed and I see her every day and I'm thinking, like, I got to get you out of there, regardless of how, right? That's not the mindset is like, how do I get her out of here? But the truth is, I'll tell you this, I have a bunch of friends that have made games that you know the name. I don't want to say because I don't want to put them in the spot.
Sure.
But games that you would know the game that you've played, that you say, this is a spectacular game. They told me when they release their stuff, they might have gotten, like, you know, out of the big dudes, maybe like, you know, 1 out of the top 5 in the world, and maybe like, you know, 6 or 7 publishers that show up and be like, hey, give me this, you know, with actual offers. I have personally met myself with over 35 publishers, and we've gotten probably over 40 offers. And we've said we haven't said no yet because we're not in a position where we can say no, but that is unreal. So and out of the top 5, we've gotten communication from 4. So it's just something scary that there's something there that they can see that I can't just yet. It's something that they've done the math and they figured that out. So we are very. So we're saying, oh well, thank you for the info. I'm going to keep going until I can. So if we can't fund it through Kickstarter, then we won't do it. But so there's 3 options. Number 1 is the worst situation is we fully self-fund making a much smaller game. We cut, and we make a small game. That can happen, right? That's possible. The second option is we get a publisher. There are some that we reach out to that we actually really like. There's some of them that you'd be impressed if you heard the name because you'd think, why are they talking to me? But they're cool and they have good vibes, at least with what, you know, they're reaching out with good vibes. However, I don't know how much of that is, you know, orchestrated and planned, but some of them I like. If I had to, you know, make a decision, I would do that. One of the lines we're saying is we do not want, no matter what, to give IP away. At no point. That is an unacceptable thing. And
that is such a common thing. It's horrifying. It's When I was working in publishing, that was the first thing I did. I was like, none of our contracts will contain their IP ever because it's awful. It's an awful situation to be in as a dev. No, dude. I'm glad you feel that way. It's awful.
I don't like it for many reasons because, you know, if I'm ever not able to make the second game, because this is like, you know, I'm very passionate about it, but this is this drains. So if we end up deciding to make a second game, I want to be able to get someone, you know, maybe like another game director, and then I would fund it and then just be here, but like allow myself to love this. And, you know, I love sitting on social media and talking to people or in the Discord, and I don't want to have the stress of saying I have to come up with a new thing. I would rather find someone to help me with that that is better than me at this. But in the broad sense of things, publishers are not bad. I don't think that that's a way to articulate that. I think they have purpose, and if you can align your purpose, then it will work.
I think the problem is there are so many of them that don't align with that purpose, and that's the danger. I have seen time and again many indie studios just get absolutely run over for a publisher to make a little bit more money, and sometimes a game will get sacrificed, meaning that that game is supposed to come out at a certain time where it'd be optimal for it, but they have a much bigger game that's in their repertoire, and they want to release it at that time instead because they know that game's going to make more money than your game, and then your game gets second fiddle. And it's rough, dude. Like it is some of the worst thing possible. I always encourage people, if you can't launch your game, talk to a publisher. But if you can, even by the skin of your teeth, keep everything you own and go without one. And like the way that I feel about it here is you use the analogy of, you know, your kid is on the hospital bed. You haven't gotten the bill yet. Wait for that
Exactly.
Kickstarter to be over before you decide, man.
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, if we do well on Kickstarter, which that's what Kickstarter thinks, like they think we're going to do really well. I just don't have the ability to think that way, and it's not because I'm a negative person, the other way around. But I don't, I don't like to ask people for anything without giving them something. So our
You are
current goal
giving
is
them
to have a
something.
demo for the Kickstarter, so that when people show up to the Kickstarter, they can at least have like at least an hour or more of gameplay to play. And it's a small trade, but it's something better than nothing, right?
I think that is a fantastic move. I think that anytime you do a Kickstarter, you should have a demo. I think ours at the time was like 5 minutes long. Like, it was very small, but it got the point across of what I was building. And what you've got here, you put together, anything. You say an hour long, that's a hell of a long demo for a Kickstarter, man. Like, if you're doing even a 15-minute experience to get the point across for what they're doing, I think people would be more than overjoyed. You may be overthinking
I think that
it.
would work. Yeah,
Maybe.
but for sure. I mean, this is a cultural thing that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
I have to think about it more because people on our Discord tell us like, "Hey, tell us," and they really want me to do a Patreon. They want me to do all this stuff. I just can't like easily. I can't marry myself to that idea because I just feel like I want to try to do it in the way that we can. But I think like Kickstarter is inevitable. It also will tell us more about traction. I think it's valuable, so I'm gonna do it.
So,
but sorry, go ahead.
Think about it this way. Like you talked about earlier, if your friend was making a game, would you set up a Kickstarter for them?
Shit, I would. Don't use my weapons against me.
Yeah, using your own weapon against
like,
you, man. Like, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, God.
If your best friend was making a game, you would help him make a Patreon. You would help him make a Kickstarter. It's exactly the same. Yep.
That's messed up.
Get Uno reversed, dude.
That's crazy. That's fair. But I'll tell you something on the publisher side, something else that I do because we get so many, and it sounds like I'm bragging, but this is something about the industry that people should know. Indies that look okay are gonna get attention. So if you make a game that you get attention, don't feel like you're gonna be like not have opportunities. You could do it. But the one thing that's kind of valuable, I'll tell you, I told this to many of them. When I don't feel the vibe, that I feel like maybe you just want the money. So I told them, here's my request. A couple of them, I don't want to go over into that to make people hate publishers because that's not the point at all. Publishers can be good. You just need to align with them. But specifically the ones that I go like, I don't know about the vibe. I tell them, here's the things I want. You don't ever get any IP. You are performance-based. So that means depending on how we do, then that's the percentage you get. And last, I will share the contract that you give.
You know what's
I will
up.
put it publicly in the internet and people will see it. And if you're okay with that, then we can progress. And then some of them like disappear, and some of them go like, sure, we'll do it.
Yeah, most of them will ghost when you do that because you're calling them on their shit right there. And that I think that is probably the best way to look at it. My golden question on all of that was always, if you were to change one thing about my business, what would it be? And that means they have to have done research on what we're doing. They have to know exactly how we operate. They need to know everything about us, which proves if they care cursorily, they actually looked into what we're doing. Or they didn't give a shit. They just want the money, right?
Yeah.
And
some of them really they have like such good intentions, and you could tell that there's a distance between the scout and the company. That is also something people should know. Like you don't get reached out by the CEO of these. I mean, we've had that happen, but it's mostly like some scout that is so passionate about games, and they said this needs to be made.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, you start going into more of the totem pole, and then you see more. But there are some of them that, if you heard the names, you'd be okay. That's that one I would consider. Then I'm very happy to say we have 8 of them in that bucket. So to be truly transparent to people, because I don't want to be the guy to lie, right now, going into January 15th, we're going to start making like very difficult decisions that if we should or shouldn't publish the game. But our current stance is if we can get to, and this sounds like I'm manipulating people to go and follow, but
you're not.
We have to have some math to this, because if I can let my team down and then they need the job, right? So I can't like make promises to people without accuracy. So if I can get close to 1,000 or
you
go
haven't been
over,
paying attention to chat, have you? You're only 100 away now.
No, we were at 600.
We've been telling everybody to follow it the whole time, bud. You're at almost 900.
You're gonna make
right
me
now.
all tap. No.
You're at 898. Yeah.
No. Give me a moment.
Get him.
This is
Get
not
him,
a
chat.
nice joke.
Make him cry, chat. Go, goblins.
Holy shit, dude.
Get him. Shit, they're onto a scatter. No. Become power 901. keep going.
Holy shit, dude. That's crazy. That is crazy.
They'll put you on, I believe it's Games We Love is the list that they do on Kickstarter. Remember that? Yeah. Get him. Get him.
We have to apply. You have to apply
Yeah.
that. You have to do an application, but we are already talking to them to do that. They told. I mean, they're really excited about us.
Not right now,
'cause
Bezos.
Bezos is showing up. I'm sorry,
He tried to.
out.
I sent him away for a moment.
Oh no, yeah. Oh god. Okay.
See, now you got to
That's
build
a big
demo.
deal, man.
Yeah,
That's
now
a
you got to
big
build a
deal.
demo. You didn't think you'd have to, but now you do. Almost there.
We've been working on it because we want to give it to people anyway. I think
Yeah.
I have this belief that we should trade. You give me some resource and I give you some resource. The resource that I'm giving you is fun. The resource that you're giving me is some money. But your money is a representation of your time, right? If you're working a 9 to 5 job that you don't completely love, an hour of your time in exchange for a game should transfer to like 20 hours of fun. If we could do that, that's a good trade, right? I hope. So I want to keep that mindset. Of course, that also has a lot to do with the cost of the game. Right now, we're thinking we're going to release probably at $20, which is insane for what we're producing. But are you there?
Yeah, one moment. I'm doing something.
Okay, my bad.
No, you'll like it.
This is like, and I think like people don't really like the whole kumbaya thing, so I try not to do it too much. But this is definitely like the kind of stuff that we don't think that there is a way where we won't make this. So we will figure it out. We will figure it out. We will not like nobody in this chat. I don't want anyone to think like you have to give or you don't have to do anything. We will do this no matter what. That we will find a way. So if you could just share it or
Don't
tell
listen to
people
him,
about
chat,
the game
follow.
or not, that's enough. No, I don't want anyone to think that we will do this no matter what. It will happen. It will happen, and we will get this done. We will get.
Chad,
we'll make the game we can make for sure.
Chad, if you get it to 25, he'll cry. Do it. The goblins have a goal.
I'm a very
you don't
emotional
understand.
guy. So
it's happened.
I'm very easy to make cry, so I'm trying not to because I think this will be in the internet forever, and I can't afford that. So I'm trying to not.
It'll be permanent. Don't worry. They'll have videos of this forever. When the neuromancers roam the waste, they'll be talking about this.
Yeah. I did.
No, dude, your guys' game is amazing, though, and your story with it is fantastic. You clearly care a lot on a very deeply emotional level, and you're right about a lot of this stuff. I feel the same way about the industry and about how indie should operate. So I'm down with this. I think what you're doing is incredible. And I guess I have one big question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, like out of everything that you've done here, what is it like to have a Kickstarter at 1,000 followers? What is that like for you, man?
It feels like I can breathe.
Okay. Because you're there. Just to... Yeah, I took a screenshot for you. You can have this. It's for you.
Oh, man.
1,000.
It's hard to explain. I know that a lot of people might, I actually think most people understand. Whenever you create anything, there is some attachment that you have to it that is hard to let go. But whenever that thing needs you in ways you can't solve for,
Yeah.
it's like it's a very weird feeling. Like you don't want to you don't have the time to worry about it, but you always worry about it. And I always my mind always says what if people don't want this, right? What if they want it for now, right? What if it's a fad, right? But anything that makes me be able to keep my team working and they have lives, they need me to be responsible, and if I could do this, I don't want to say that we'll never have a publisher, so I don't want to make people also think that there are ways for us to make that work. But if I can come to that table with a lot more agency and a lot more power because I have a community that I'm not charging them for anything, I'm just giving them the game in advance, right? Yeah. So I feel I'm making a fair trade, giving them something in advance. Just if I could do that, and I could do that well, with dignity and not like make people feel like they owe me something because I'm making something that they like. If I could do that, then I think I could go to that table with a lot more, bargaining power. Yeah,
Confidence.
and you know, if we have to do it because you know costs are crazy. I just so people understand. Like you don't make a game that looks like this with you know a couple hundred. You know, $100,000 is not really the kind of stuff that you think goes as far when you're making like hand drawn pixel art game at this level. But you know, every single dollar helps. So we don't need to ask for it. We just need to find it. So I think like we can find it. We have enough publishers interested to find it. I have friends that tell me I'll give you some. Like there's so many people that want to help, but I just don't know how to deal with it. So it's a me problem. But I guess I don't have a choice now because
No, you don't. Now you're trapped.
This is how does it get to like 1,014?
We were snaking it around the chat for like the last hour.
That just doesn't make any sense.
So the one thing that I always feel about is good games don't sell themselves. Every one of you in chat does. 100%. The devs are always going to be passionate. They're always going to care about the thing that they do. And the people that actually make sure that that game succeeds is you. That's the most important thing. So if you want this game to succeed, if you want any of these games to succeed that you've seen in Indiecember, all of that is based on your interest in those games. And if you want them to win, go and follow them, go and wishlist them, go and show them to a friend. Because indie studios don't have that AAA budget. They can't throw the entire cost of a multi-million-dollar game at marketing. They have you, and that's all they have. So,
yeah, and
awesome
and I'll also say this, like I really appreciate that you guys are giving us all this love. But I will tell, and I know this sounds like I don't want to sound dismissive. I just want to be sure that you guys know, we are the lucky ones. Like I am lucky enough that I don't have I have this obsessive compulsion to love my game. So I can do this thing of going to the chat of Thor and ask him, hey, I saw something about Indiecember. I saw it I don't know. You posted it, I think less than 4 hours. I came here and I asked you, and you actually replied to me and said, yeah, you just apply or not. So when I send the email, I send it saying, hey, Thor already told me that, so I'm doing those little things that people sometimes don't have the, sometimes we our ego doesn't let us do that, right? But because I'm obsessive about this, then I can do this. I'm one of the lucky ones. There are so many games out there at this level.
Yeah.
That I'll say Alter Alma, Eden's Guardian, I'm forgetting all the names right now, but some of these games I'm emotional. But all these games just need your love, and they need it more not because some of them are doing better than me, but they need your love because they are further along, and it gets harder after the novelty goes away. It's very hard to get through the finish line. But Constance just came out. That game, I finished it in 4.5 hours. I couldn't stop playing it. It's something gorgeous made by a team that is full of love on a topic that's very hard to see. So there's so many of these guys, they're just so good. And I wish, people would, give us some help, but go find those people, and they will give you better experiences than, Call of Duty 69. I shouldn't have said that. I'm gonna get in trouble. But you get what I'm saying. Go find something that is made with passion, and go love on it.
Oh man,
I should not have said that.
That's so funny.
This is like,
that's so
I should
funny.
not have said
Nice,
that.
nice. Everyone's nice.
This is how I get in trouble.
That's
I
great.
get a lot of trouble for talking.
Yeah, you said it to the right community. Let me tell you.
Yeah. There's definitely no collab with them anymore, which we were looking for, but you get my point. But I guess what I was saying is we could use the help, but one of the things we want to do, we're actually asking Steam this, Thor, which I think is cool for people to try. I'm going to talk to the other people in the Indiecember group to say, I want to see if they let us I have this idea of this together we are mighty. I'm obsessed with that phrase. I want to put it in the demo. I want to put a button on the bottom right corner of the game once you finish the demo that turns on and says, together we're mighty, and there's a bunch of other games, links to other demos that are not mine. I don't know if Steam will let me do that. I think they won't, but I really want to do that. Once you finish the game, the new game plus is some button that lets you see, hey, go test, go check out Frog Rain, or go check out the Venom that just came out with their demo. Go check out another game.
If you do it inside your game, I don't think they have a problem with it. because you can always just link out to like all kinds of stuff. Like I know a bunch of people are trying to like share around the Indiecember games list, but like you could totally do that in game.
Yeah,
Send it
and
out
then
to
go
wherever you
do
want.
that. Like go check that out, and leave my game, because if you took 30 minutes to finish the demo, then I don't need you to be here for 4 hours to give me more playtime. I understand
Yeah.
how that's a good thing, but yeah, go leave my demo and go play Divinum, or go play some of these guys that are just what they're making is impressive. Like I don't have words to explain how gorgeous some of this stuff is. Like, there's this guy that I follow that I like a lot what he's doing. He's making a game called Soulgrave. His pixel art's better than mine. Like I mean, I'm gonna make that a personal thing for my artists, and they're gonna probably go and say like, "Oh, really?" And they're gonna crack and I'm gonna
Wow.
get a bunch of we're gonna fight these guys over who makes the prettiest pixel art. But they are great. Like Soulgrave is awesome. Sojourn Past, Super Adventure is a game that's like super 8-bit. But these guys are amazing, like lovable human beings. Like they're just great. So yeah, Turnbreak, Biogun, all these guys are just amazing, layers deep. So whatever, I can rant a million of their names, but there are people that deserve the attention that we're getting because we are maybe lucky enough to risk talking to you or asking people.
I'm
So
glad you did,
don't
though.
clip that. Did somebody just don't do
Clip it.
that?
Clip it.
Somebody clip the thing. No.
Clip
Okay.
it. Clip it.
Okay. Well, before I start like crying like a baby here, let me show you the experiment. I think you'll have a lot of opinions here, and we can have it more of a conversation if it me yapping. I'm gonna close the game for a moment, and I want to show you the experiment to see what you think. I actually want your thoughts on this.
Sure.
I don't know how much time we've been at this, so
It doesn't
cut
matter.
this. Okay, so in here we gotta be a little careful because I want to protect. Let me load. I'm gonna open OBS, which I think hides people's names. I mean, it doesn't matter, but out of respect for people, because I'm actually showing a live Discord. Let me see. It does. It does. Okay, it does kind of. Okay, that's fine. So let's go to our. Yeah. Okay. If I see something kind of weird, I'll close it. But I think it's fine because it's an open Discord here. Let me do a couple minor shifts here, and we will. Rubinite too, by the way. And there's a bunch of like Mega Man inspired games. People should go. Mega Man X Corrupted. All those guys are just amazing. So they should come first. If you can support anybody, support them first for sure. Let's see. Okay, this should work. I am going to. And if somebody is here and they're pinging me, please don't ping me now because I muted what I can, but I don't want to see that. Start. Here we go. Okay, this is going to be the actual Discord. Let me know if you can see my screen.
I can see
your
Oh
screen.
God, I can hear. God,
okay.
can hear me. Hello.
You can hear yourself.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a problem.
Uh,
Let me see if I can. Oh, I think I can fix it. I can fix it. Give me a moment. I'm going to close it again. Oh, share streamer audio. See now? Is that good now?
Let's see. Okay, we're good. This
We
is
are
really
good, yeah.
funny. I was like, oh.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, now I hear myself 3 times because I can hear myself when I talk in the mic. Then I can hear it over there. I was like, oh.
Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, for sure. So this is our Discord, and we've nothing, crazy. But the reason why I wanted to show this is because we're making this experiment of this, like we'll call it like this community synced development.
Can I show the screen now? Are we good?
Yes, you should
Okay.
be able to. As long as you don't hear yourself, you should be fine.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I've muted as much as I can. If somebody types to me, I'll close it. But anyway, the point here is, I don't want to disable this. I just want to hide it. There we go. So we have our Discord server. Nothing fancy, just a Discord server. We're trying to get to the boost to do a couple more things, but very simple stuff. Nothing major. But the magic that we're doing here that I love is we have this room called Ask the Devs, which is normal. People ask questions. But then you have this Devs Ask You forum, which we are actually breaking. We actually had to reach out to Discord because we're breaking it. We're not using as they want us to. Where we've made this. So in here we have all these like different threads that I make them all myself, and we write like tiny dissertations out of each one of them. And these are numbered in order. Let me see if I can actually sort this by Yeah, definitely. But these are the ones that are highlighted. So it just goes in order into things that we're showcasing, and we show people what we're making. And we say, this is what we're making. This is the new character that we're making. This is what we're doing. And we tell them everything, the design philosophy behind it. We talk about UI. We talk about support enemies and how they should work. We talk about variants of things. We also did like this mochi thing. It's really great. A friend of mine that I really love is a YouTuber, a tiny YouTuber, but I really love him as a person. He lost his dog, so we decided to make mochi into and put it into the game. So we wanted to show people what we were doing, but in this situation, like they weren't voting on which mochi sprite, but instead to tell us like how would they want to interact with like animals and stuff like that, and maybe ferrets, we know. So that kind of feedback, we can use this moment to say, hey, this is something beautiful to share, but also let's actually talk about the implementation. And people are learning so much, Thor. Like they're learning of stuff that they could never imagine, of the complexities of. There's this topic of like death penalties, and you see people get really passionate about it. And you make some threads that do well, but some that don't. This one right here, Spear Vault. We have people suggesting a spear vault, so that I make a stupid meme. I said, here's a vault with a bunch of spears, and I just said like, you got it. There it is.
Yeah.
That's it. It's done. I kept my word. Thank you. I said, of course, no. We ended up making the spear vault, and there's a dissertation of how we happened, why it was difficult. Let me move this. So people could come in here, they can necro any of these threats, and they could tell us, I celebrate all the people that gave us ideas, and then we go and show like fully scripted GIFs, that show how it's going to work, and we show the animation process, and so people are
That's awesome.
Actually telling us literally this is the way, or this somebody even said like, hey, I think like her spear doesn't bend enough, like she looks too static, and then we went and changed it. It's not because they're saying it, it's because we're saying that is great, and that makes
they
sense.
say it,
That's
and then you go, you know what, you're right.
Yeah, so it's
because the way I always
great.
see it is not all feedback is correct, but all feedback is valuable. Because sometimes you're like, they may not be right about that, but I came up with another idea. Does this fix the problem for you? Kind of a thing. And they're like, yeah, 100%.
Exactly. We almost never do what the community says straight out, because they don't. We want them. I have this constant belief that I want them to be. One of my personal pillars is perform your wonder, and what that kind of means is I have to. If what I do is not wonderful to you, then that's not the special thing that I can do. I need to do something that you don't really understand, and you just say like, that's awesome, right? If I can do that and stay in that pocket, then I am doing something that actually adds value to people. I don't need people to understand how I do it, but the more I explain them how I do it, they think it's more and more wonderful, because they think like, holy shit, how you do that? Like sometimes I see you like scripting shit. I'm like, I have no idea you understand like how these things connect, and there's got to be like thousands of lines of code. So here, how do you remember? For me, that's wonderful. I couldn't process that. So even if you explain it to me, it's only becoming more wonderful. Does that make sense? Like, telling people how you do it doesn't take away from the wonder. It just makes it worse. Better, actually, well, I guess.
It's funny because like you were talking before about maybe making a Patreon. These are the types of posts that you would generally put on Patreon, and you do them for free if that's what you wanted to do. And it's just like a place where people can do that, and they can also support you monetarily. And like that's pretty standard, but you've done it all through Discord in a way that I don't think I've ever seen before, where you're using this whole system. You said this breaks. What breaks about this? Because you're using the thread system, but you're using it in the grid style thread system.
It breaks.
We also have weird problems on our Discord because it's too big.
So the first thing that breaks is that we can only in Discord you can only ping 100 people in a row, even if they're voluntary, in a thread. So I have right now like almost 400 people that want to give feedback, which is insane. So whenever they want to give feedback, I have to make in my latest post, which I made yesterday. Look at what I had to do. I'll show you. I had to create feedback pieces 1, 2, 3, and 4 and spread the people manually into different blocks to be able to summon them. Because if I don't summon them, it's not enough to go outside in general and ping them, because they don't get added to the thread. And then they can't give feedback because they don't see they can, of course, if they could get a general ping for the server, and then they can go from there to clicking on the thing. I believe in reducing effort. if you
Yep.
volunteered yourself, sorry, I didn't volunteer you, but if you volunteer yourself to give feedback, that's a role that we have in our server settings. So when you join the server, it tells you, do you want to give feedback? By the way, we will ping you at least 2 times a week, and it's very consequential. You matter. Do you want to do this? If you say yes, you will get pinged. So if you're choosing to do this, why is there a limitation where
Yep.
I can't ping you? You're voluntarily. So very painful. But
So honestly,
and I don't know how to program a bot, so I don't have that kind of skill set to
the
do a
the way
bot
that
that does it
we've
for me. So
the way that we've handled that kind of thing is I set up a number of roles that they opt into, and when they opt into that role, they get an announcement channel. But if you're trying to do it on individual threads like this, I don't think it works in threads, like because threads are just a mess. They'd have to click on it to go to it. If you're doing it in individual channels, totally easy. You just go, here's the channel, right? But like, yeah, that's kind of a
yeah,
mess.
it's very difficult and it's not the best implementation.
Yeah,
But what we'll probably do eventually, we'll find like someone in our community. I'm sure somebody knows how to, program bots, and we'll figure out a bot to do it like in a way that's like not. I don't like the idea of like pinging people direct messages and whatnot, but we'll find a way to do it cleanly, and then we won't do it this way because this is too much manual work for me. But I
yeah,
care so much about people's feedback that I would rather go through like every time someone joins, I have to send them to a new bucket and I have to orchestrate that every time I'm going to do a DAU, which I do twice a week. But I think it's so good. It's so good to do it because we get feedback that I mean, I could never get what we're making. If like, look at this right here. This is the protocol's thread. There's 567 comments. I can pay for that. I couldn't pay for that anywhere. So people
oh
are
yeah,
there and people took this and then they made a spreadsheet where they started saying, oh, here's like all of our ideas for protocols, here's all our ideas for calls, and
yeah.
this is how they could combine. People went nuts. And from
I
there
think
we
this is
designed what we're doing. It's
I,
great.
I after seeing this, I don't even think you should make a Patreon. I think you should just do this. I think this is a better system. Your community already likes it. Like that's awesome, dude. I would do this and I would do your Kickstarter, man. Like this makes complete sense because if your community is already down with it, it's already working. There's no reason to switch to a completely different platform. Like as much as
Yeah.
Patreon is cool, like
I'm sure we
that's
can
rad.
find a way to make this work. This technologically is a little painful, but I'm sure we'll find a way to make the
Have you
the thing work for sure. We'll
have you
figure it
seen
out.
how ours is set up?
I joined your several while ago. Then I left when I cleansed, and I joined again a couple days ago. So I need to look. I know I modeled our welcome system by yours and Co's, but Co's has like you have to like log in, and I didn't want people to do
His
that
is
because
like a
we're
whole
not cool
bot.
enough for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His is like a whole thing. But yeah, no,
yeah,
this
I don't
is
have that.
like
Yeah,
on ours, we just set it up with like a bunch of different channels. Let me grab this. Why is this?
that might be
Why are
better.
you
Yeah,
doing this platform? Wait,
yeah.
no, wrong one. There we go. So like on ours, you just have the channels and roles, and then this is just like how they can select any of those, and they're just free to choose whatever they want. So if they want to do like game dev or
Yeah.
art or whatever, and then that gives them the section. So that way, I don't have to do what you're doing, which is like a
Yeah.
million section roles. Like that'd be impossible, dude, because you get like
But how do you
150,000
ping?
people.
Because you're bringing them into channels, but you're not
Yeah,
bringing them into threads, right? Because
yeah.
that's
So they're
my
not.
main issue is that in order to save to contain the conversation of like, you know, the snacklets, I have to be
Yeah,
able to make that into like something that starts and ends. I guess maybe I could just make
you
a
archive the
new
channel.
channel every time, something
You
like
can
that,
actually
maybe.
just change it so the channel is archived and that channel has ended, and they can still view it, but they can't send a message in it. You can do that with role system for that. So like I'll do it through like if we look at all of these announcement channels here, there's like one for the ferrets, right? Whenever we do the ferret streams, but like the only people who get this are people who actually have the channel and role for like they start with it and then they can block them if they want to. They're like, I don't want to hear about the ferret streams. I don't want to hear about your pirate software streams, and they don't see any of these channels unless they're like, I want to see game dev, and then they see the game dev stuff, and then they get the
Okay.
announcements for all the Discord stuff for
Yeah.
that. But like, if you're trying to do it of like retaining the knowledge in there, then it works to just like end the conversation and then archive it. But it's crazy because if you have 400 people and it's already having scaling issues, dude, like that's gonna get nuts.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're
That's
we're
gonna get
tiny, but I
rough.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, most of people, I'd say easily 70% of the community gives feedback, which I think is the opposite of the norm in terms of normal.
Yep.
I think like probably it's less than 20% of community gives feedback. But let me be honest, they don't all give feedback. They have the role. So
Yeah.
many of them lurk. And what they do is what we make a vote every time. So if I show you here, like we make a vote and we just gonna, I try to be, whatever approachable to it because I don't want people to feel like this is like super serious. So we make certain polls and people vote on those polls. We'll do something like this. What's your favorite tier of snacklet? And number one, number two, they vote, and then we get like a score. And then some people, this is very old. This is like 34, right? We're now at 83, so things have grown a lot. But this is like the snacklets I was telling you earlier. They combine between themselves and make bigger, like kind of transformer vibe of monsters. So people feel a very special kind of way about snacklets. So because of that, we make versions of it. So we go version 5. We're at version 5 now. But we have like a bunch of like constantly evolving threads of, here's like version 1 of snacklets, version 2 of snacklets, version 3. And then people can come here, which is what I like, and here, and they can search for it. Because I personally love when people necro the threads. It's like my favorite thing to see somebody go back to like DAU7 and pull it up and say like, hey, I have a question about this. It kind of gives me joy because we put so much work into it that the fact that people want to kind of ask a question about that and it's the right place. So it's definitely, as the scaling issue is my bad design. I have to figure out a better way of doing that.
You want the conversation to end, but you don't want it to end.
I really don't want it to end. I want it to like not be like in people's face all the time. So what we do is we have a timer for the threat. So 3 days after nobody has talked to it, it goes away, as in like it hides. And I think that's more than good enough. But like sometimes somebody will show up. Like I have somebody, for example, that says, "Oh, I'm an architect. I love your backgrounds." And then I go and tell them, "Hey, here's like 7 threads. If you feel like it, go necro whichever one you want and tell us about how the city should have been and what we did there that could have been better." And then they go and you know what they do? They go and make us an entire thing of the right perspective and how the angle should have been and how to show. It's great. Like so I don't ever want people to not be able to do that so that I can, do that. But then we celebrate that. We say, hey, like this person gave us this feedback. Based on this feedback, we made these changes. What do you guys think? And it evolves on its own, makes people want to do it more. They want to be heard. It's pretty great. So, it is labor intensive for me, but this is the job I want. I want people to feel heard, but not in a kumbaya way, in an actual pragmatic, clean way that is actually productive. And the one thing that I could say that it does is that it teaches people how to give feedback without me having to tell them. Because if somebody shows up and they say like, I just don't like this, then I was like, awesome, here's other threads, go check them out. But if you go and tell them, I don't like it because X, Y, and Z, then you're going to get the game director, the lead programmer, you're going to get people to actually engage with you and ask you, oh, how could we could do this better? How we could do that better? How we could do this? How we could do that? So it's pretty great. Yeah, for sure.
I remember, what? 10,000 bits, dude. What?
Oh, holy shit, dude. How much is that?
that's wild. That is crazy. 10,000 bits is crazy. Thank you very, very much, man. What the hell?
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much for that. Supporting this stream is great.
Mega Mage, thank you. Seriously, that is bonkers, man.
The fact that people like the Indiecember enough to do that kind of stuff is wild. Like
it kind of blows me away. I was terrified. I was terrified of doing this event, man. I was so scared.
Like, why?
Yeah,
you thought you were going to get some backlash?
I don't know, dude. I was freaking out the whole time. I was like, oh, man, I hope that it does everything I want to. And we were managing all these people. And I was like, I hope people don't get let down for not being in the show. And then I was like, and like after the first day, I was like, this is fine. Everything is fine. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Like everything is great. It'll be
great
fine,
thing for sure.
And I'm just going to keep doing it. We'll do the next one in June. We're going to do them twice a year. Because I don't think I have the bandwidth to do them outside of that. But the idea is like do one in June, do one in December every single time, and just have a blast with it. Because like there are always going to be indies that need a platform. There's always going to be indies that need to be seen, and it's I think it's super important. And the other thing too is a lot of people in the community ended up learning a bunch of cool shit because I'm taking in indies that aren't just like this is a complete title. It's like this is a guy's idea for a thing that's kind of barely implemented. And then they get to see that part of the process and kind of see where it starts, And I think that's important too. Yeah.
I think it adds a lot of value because like the only places where you could go tell people about what you're making are places that they know that you're marketing to them and it just feels bad. Yeah. I know where it's at, for sure.
You just got us. The basis is right.
Got it right. The basis just slapped us in the face. But yeah, no, it's great. I think like there's a couple of other places doing the work. Like the show that we were yesterday, so the Latin American Game Showcase, they do that for Latin American games that have some people from Latin America. So I think that's cool. Of course, I don't want that to be like the reason why we get selected for anything, but you got to take every opportunity you can. And that's awesome, and I love the work that they're doing for sure. It's an underinvested area of the world in terms of gaming, so it's great to have a forum for that. But things even like the OTK stuff, like I think they were great. I mean, OVLE was amazing. We've been there twice. I think one of the only games that have been there twice. And thanks to all of you guys, we've done really well. So I mean, I really hope that we can keep the train going and get to the answer of it. Like Thor. Oh man. Oh shit. I just refreshed the Steam DB page,
You finally just
and
got
we
to
just
see it.
went down like 14 spots in the top wish list in the world. How does this happening?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
That's not right.
That's how it works.
406, 562 in the world. That's crazy. I never
Yep.
thought we would dream of that.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm really glad, dude. I mean, what you guys are doing is cool. You guys as developers are cool. You've got a great vision. You know exactly what you're trying to do. And you're building an awesome community. So keep it up. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure like, there'll be some things where we will, because we're showing things so early and so consistently, there's going to be moments where we're going to make some mistakes and things that we're going to drop. But I think like because we're also talking about it so often and telling people about it, it gives us a little bit of credibility when we have to make changes that don't work.
Yeah.
Um, and it's been really cool to see like how people react to things that we have to take away or add or change. Um, because people fall in love with specific stuff, right? We have a lot of people that really, really love, for example, like I think the spear is a good example. We've
Yeah.
changed the spear, how the spear works like 4 times, but there are people that are like obsessed with it, and they're
And you
like,
said the
I
vault was
really
like
want it.
completely new as well. Like that's like a crazy thing to me.
Yeah, it came from out of nowhere because we had another thing about how the spear works. So we were talking about like this. I think this is a good example. So it was like how does the flute spear work in terms of throwing it? So originally we said, okay, this is straight line, but then we said we'll make a new animation so that we can then create angles, so we can throw it in angles, right? So that was the idea. We'll throw it in angles, and you can throw things. And then people
Yeah.
said like, that's cool, but if you just want to get to enemies, why don't instead we just vault to them? And then everyone is like, that, give me that. And then you
Yeah.
have like an entire server of people saying, let's do it. And they're showing you videos and they're showing you game. People sit with me, Thor, in voice chat for hours, and they show me them playing the insect glaive in Monster Hunter, which is a game I haven't played. I've seen a lot of it. All my friends
Really?
like it, but I don't have the time to play it. I wish I had the time. I know I'm gonna obsess over it, and I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to delay Shape Protocol for another 6 months. But I think I'm gonna fall into the trap of liking it too much because it looks really cool. But they show it to me, and I'm sitting there and I'm asking them, well, can you do this inputs? Can you do that input? And I'm taking notes with them, and it's
Hmm.
probably saving me months of design. So it's great. And then of course,
Honestly,
I also don't want to let people down, but I can't do everything they want. So I do what I can inside the
yeah.
space of their suggestions. Yeah.
Insect Glaive was my main for all of Monster Hunter World. And then going over to Monster Hunter Wilds, like I play Insect Glaive, Hunting Horn, and Gunlance. And like Insect Glaive is all aerial combat. It's freaking rad, dude. Like it's such a cool thing. That pole vault that you did in there is fantastic. Just even getting the aerial move for that, it just feels good. So as an Insect Glaive man, yes, you're doing
Yeah,
it.
for sure. So when we did that, like that's when that's not the first time that we got like some really big thing out of the community, but that was the
Hmm.
one that I think is most memorable because it got to me in a very primal way. Like, okay, I can make what I want to make and be wrong, or I can make what people want and make it right. Not I'll be right. Like I have to make it right because I have to fit the game. But it's such a cool idea. And then from there we started making dash cancels, and from there we made the chill charge, which is one of my favorite things. Like it reflects bullet when you're charging, so it's a defensive dash that kind of lets you get to like enemies are shooting at you. So this is all modeled after the same idea. So we do a lot more with what community suggests than they know. And then eventually we tell them. It takes us a while to go, hey, based on your idea, we came up with this. And it's really cool. It's not as labor intensive once you make it valuable. Like if you're just saying, oh, I just want to market myself to my own community, you're achieving nothing, right? They're getting more excited, but you're just building needless momentum. where you could show them stuff like, like for example, this girl, like the whole death letter stuff, the sniper, like you could show them stuff and actually have some questions like, do you like smart enemies? And you know what? A
Yeah.
lot of people told us no, like they don't like smart enemies.
Have
So
you
it's pretty interesting.
have you guys ever thought about streaming your workflow? Because one of the things that we fought for is the software and game development category here on Twitch.
Mm.
I campaigned for it for about 8 months, and then Twitch finally said yes to it. And that category isn't just for programming; it's for like art and music and programming and everything like this. If you guys have this much throughput for all this, where you have this connection with your community and you're wanting to show them stuff, you should stream that, and maybe you or other members of the team doing that, because like that is exactly what that category is for. And one of the people is actually saying, so in there, Turtle Holder was saying, I'm not sure if people would like to see me get frustrated and locked in for a few hours just coding stuff. Yeah, they would. Yep. Like that's how that works. Like you'd be kind of amazed with that. People watched me earlier today making a boss in our Minecraft server. It's called Block Game. It's an MMO that we've been making on stream for like years.
I've been saying, yeah.
And that was it. And I was just like, no, that looks like shit. I just kept remaking it over and over again until it felt right. And like, dude, people like seeing stuff get made. That's what the category's for. So maybe do it, right? Like that actually seems like it'd be a really cool fit for you guys. Seriously.
It might. I don't think like I think Ilya would get away with it, but I don't think like anyone wants to hear me yap for that long. Like I don't have much
Bullshit.
to show other than like what the work is doing.
Bullshit. There's 2,000 people here. They've been here for 3 hours.
Well, we'll consider it for sure. I mean, 'cause I definitely think like there is and if we can explain the game does better because people see what we're making. But like your hunting system, whatnot, it's our spear. We have to say, you know what? We need a break. We need to think about this. Like we can't just make sometimes, but sometimes making is the best prototype, and then from there you go, you know what? Like we need to take more time to think about this. But yeah, I mean, streaming would help because talking to people in a productive way is something that we never dreamed we would get. And right now, I think it's one of the most valuable things we have. Like, I mean, I have a bunch of people in my server, like Heavy Blues, Kansaki Makoto, these people that deserve to be praised. Like Shitsa, there's a bunch of these guys that are there every day. Ava Messer, they're giving us feedback, good and bad. I'm telling you, because they're not nice sometimes. They will tell you whenever they don't like something.
I'm very well aware.
Yeah, but the good thing in our side is that I'm kind of have like that little bit like that military background. So whenever it starts crossing a line, it's like, okay, well, this is not productive. Like, tell me what you would like. Let's stick to what you would like, right? And then a lot of people quickly get it. Okay, like that's not the right way to give feedback. I don't care if you tell me that you hate something, there's nothing I could do for you. But if you tell me, I hate this as you're just using the word, I understand that you really mean I don't particularly like this, so this is not for me. And then you explain me why, then I could go through the operations of making those things and saying, okay, now I can go talk to Ilya and say, Ilya, like there's a problem here that we didn't think about. How do we solve for that? Then we have a meeting about it. Then we come back to the community and tell them, hey, this is the new version of that thing. This was a fair problem, and here's the solution, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we have that. Like for example, we do stuff like this, like tutorials. Like, and we made we should have put this. I don't think we should have, but you get my point. Like we go tutorials, like how do you do a tutorial? And then people give you a ton of feedback. And someone then goes like, don't tell me the input in the game. Don't show me like some character is saying, we should just press X to attack. And they don't like that. They don't feel that that's immersive. I would have never thought that was a problem.
Yeah.
So little things like that bring up quality. It's not like you would never get it without talking to your community, but people really like giving feedback. It's just not all of it is transferable to an action. But a lot of it is a good blocker to bad decisions, is what I would say.
Yeah, I think my favorite moment of that in anything that I've worked on was I had a mini game where you had to pop these pods that were falling from the top of the screen. It was part of like a combat sequence. And this player is like, it lags. And I was like, dude, there's no way it lags. Like that's something. And I was like, what do you mean it lags? They're like, oh, it lags. Like I click it, it doesn't work. And I was like, okay, let me go look into this. And I was like, because they're wrong in that there's no way that it lags, but they're getting the perception of lag. So what the hell is going on here? And I had an animation that was making the finger for the cursor do this. And what had happened was the actual clicking reticle was at the end of the finger. But when the finger pulled back like this, they'd click here. And since this was actually the clicking location, because it wasn't animated at the time, it'd click off the pod. And they'd go, I have to click a second time. And they're like, it's lag. So I fixed the bug by just not animating the finger anymore. And they're like, yeah, the lag is gone. And I was like, so the player was wrong about what it was, but they were right that something was wrong there. So like that idea of listen to the feedback, even if the feedback is wrong, they might be revealing something. They just don't have the technical understanding to like talk to you about. And it's like super useful. It's like really, really always valuable to look at the feedback. Always.
It definitely does require, and I imagine you feel this way too, because I remember like a story from, I think it was one of your videos at some point years ago, where you said like somebody gave you like some review that they said like, oh, this game has no story.
Yeah.
And you're like, like
it's
like, what are you talking about?
Whatever. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, no,
That's
this dude was like,
this
guy sent me an email and he's like, your game has no story. And it was like, well, did you not like the story? Was it just like, did it not resonate with you? And I talked to this dude for like 20 minutes and then he finally revealed that he skipped all the dialogue because he doesn't like reading. And I was like,
yeah, I mean, so
all right, man.
The lesson there is good, but the lesson is good, but the cost maybe not so much, right? So the lesson of like, okay, people don't play games to read a book, but you're playing an RPG, so
you're playing a narrative RPG.
Yeah, narrative RPG. So
that's a book with extra steps, dude. Like
exactly. So what I like to do at that point is that I tell myself this is kind of part of the mantra, and one of my other pillars is leverage your humanity. So if you can get hungry, somebody else can be hungry. So understanding hunger is a valuable thing to making games. So whenever I think of somebody could be, if I could be passionate, somebody could be passionate. And they could be passionate about a completely different point than me. So whenever somebody tells me something like that, oh, this game has no story. And then I'm like, dude, what do you mean? Like you're in dialogue stuck the whole time and you're not reading it or something like that. Then you skip it. It's like, okay, well, I can of course take that and figure out, okay, well, you messed up. And I get that. And I think that can be true. And there's also a piece of it that is how I like to internalize it at the same time and say, okay, well, maybe I need to, are my tags on Steam? Well, let me go check my tags.
Yep.
And as dumb as that sounds, sometimes that is it. I go say, oh, this game is presented as a, immersive storytelling journey. And I'm here like smacking snacklets with an axe. So maybe their expectation of the game is like, the story is not that important. And I can skip stuff. Like, and you're going to give me stories and cinematics. I don't know. I'm making it up. Of course, I am justifying something that shouldn't be justified, but that's not.
But you're trying to find a reason. You're trying.
I'm trying to find the reason
like
and get value out of my 20 minutes that I spend that the universe will never give me back.
It never will. You're never getting it back. It's over.
Yeah, but sometimes it's different.
The way I think the thing that it taught me out of all that was like sometimes people just have kind of wild ideas of the thing that you're making, and sometimes those don't fit with what you are building. Sometimes even they're given the information and they just bypass it. There's always going to be someone that misses something. Like I have people that come in every day that talk about like, oh, are you working in this? I was like, I released an update like 2 days ago. And they're like, I totally missed that. But I put it out on, we put it out on Discord, we put it out on Reddit, we put it out on Twitter, we put it out on the Steam page. And I'm like, where were you looking? Right? Because like, I want to know, how did this message miss you? Because there's always a thing like that, and you have to find out what that person's actual experience was that led them into that location to either think that way or miss that information, or I don't know, think that the game was not going to have any dialogue in it, right? Like you never know. You have no idea where that's coming from, so you have to ask. So I get it. Yeah, 100%.
It's very difficult, and I think like it's good for a chat to hear that because sometimes people might think like, oh, but a game releases and people say, oh, you didn't test this, right? That's not the case. Sometimes it's like and I don't put it on players ever because I think it's on us. Like this is our privilege to do. This is our craft, right? They're not responsible for our craft. But if we didn't get feedback on something, it's very difficult to always catch everything, especially in a game that's very active because people play in different ways. Like I don't know that, if you rebind jump to the start button, it's going to be a problem because I would never rebind the jump to the start button, right? So, but can we implement controls and be smart about it? Yeah, you're trying something. I mean, there might be a reason why you do that, right? Maybe you have a controller that is damaged, or maybe some accessibility thing. There's many reasons. There doesn't have to be a wrong thing. It's just I didn't know. So getting to those people to talk to us is good. But I'll give you an example of something that's a little difficult. I'll try to be nice about it because I don't particularly feel bad about it. Sure. But like we get one random message once in a while, and we get it like every 1,000 message. We'll get one message from somebody that would say something like, "Oh, why does it have to be the female character?" Like that happens.
Yeah, no, that happens a lot. Yep.
And the way I deal with it is, at the beginning, I'm the character is kind of modeled to the concept is I want to leave something behind for my niece. I only have one niece, and I really wanted, to make something, and then my sister gave me another one. But I wanted to leave something behind for her. So that's the reason why I'm making the game. I don't have to explain that to anybody. I
Right
already
on.
went to war and came back. I'm making a freaking game. I'm free to do it. I'm going to do whatever I want. But I do feel that it's okay for people to say, I would prefer if there was an option to have two characters, right? I don't see any evil there whenever it's not intended with that evil. But where I'm coming from is there are people that have said that to me, and I have not taken it well at the very beginning of it. And then
Yeah.
later on, I started saying, you know what? Like, I have to stick to my own uh, process and just talk to them. And I
Yeah.
know that a lot of people are going to repudiate this and like, well, why? Like, but that's not the point here, because But and one of the guys, what ended up happening? So it was great. This guy actually was speaks a different language, and he used an online thing to translate what he meant. And what he really meant, he wanted to see if there was going to be something like in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, where when you finish the game, it'll let you play another character, like by putting some code and play the game again
It's a
by with
translation
another
issue.
character.
Yeah.
And what he meant was like, is there going to be? And then he said, is there going to be a way to play a different character? Maybe like there's images of the guy like that. We have a
Mhm.
guy that's like the father of Zura, and that's what he meant. That's how he
Yeah.
meant. So and of course I could have
And
instantly
it just
demonized.
comes across terribly because it's something
Yeah,
lost in
exactly.
translation. Yeah, we get
So
that all
yeah,
the time because
I'm
we
sure.
have a really international community. Like I stream 12, well today 13 hours, but like normally 12 hours a day, and it's you hit so many time zones with that. It's everywhere from like West Coast
Hmm.
US all the way over to like Australia, right? So we get people all the time, people from like Brazil, people from like all over Europe, and like there are always things that are lost in translation. Like always,
Exactly.
always. And it's funny because you'll start to catch if you spend enough time interacting with people online of that same culture and they're trying to translate over, especially with like Brazil. We have a ton of people from Brazil rocks, by the way. We
Yeah.
wouldn't exist without Brazil, by the way. Like you'll start to notice the mistranslations are a common thing from one language to another in exactly the same way. If that person made that mistranslation, it is likely that many other people will make the exact same mistranslation from that same culture because there is something with either the online tooling that is doing this or a common phrase between the two languages that causes it. And we see it all the time. So every once in a while, someone will come in and say the same thing. I was like, oh, you're from Brazil. And they're like, how did you know? And I was like, this happens all the time, like constantly all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
And
mean, I
it's,
guess what I'm saying is that
you'd
you
never
you
learn that unless you
can.
ask, yeah.
For sure. And I'm not saying we should accommodate everything, right? There are some things that you should stand like and say like it's not acceptable thing,
Yeah.
but there's so many people that I'm telling you, this is and we got a lot of people in our Discord that I don't know what the right word is, but I could tell like there's some sort of like I use the word hurt, but there's some hurt that has to do with like they just are the only way. And this sort you might have information that I don't have. I would like to know if this is real, but a lot of
Mhm.
people can only be heard whenever they do a review that's negative. And a lot of people bring that up to me in our conversation. They said, "Oh yeah, because I love this game and I wanted to give them feedback about something, but I just couldn't get them to listen to me. Like I would
Mhm.
send them an email, I would put a Steam thing, I would do this, and the only way I could get them to listen because they're passionate about the game. They don't always know the consequence, the horrible consequence that it has to put a bad review in a game. They don't particularly care about that. They care about the game getting changing or whatnot. So when they go and tell you, uh, it just feels bad. So when I think about someone like this that's telling me like, oh, I would like to play like I'm showing on screen this character's Eos is our father is a little bit overpowered. I don't blame someone for saying like I would like a game with that I could play this dude. So if I can put my ego aside for just 10 seconds and ask if the person gives me a nugget that is valuable and is really powerful, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe you'd like a second character. You know how expensive it would be for make a second character? That's not their problem. I just put it in Kickstarter, right? And they just say, okay, I'll put it like at the very end of Kickstarter, and if we get there, then we'll do it, right? But the
Yeah.
truth is, I can't design a game uh, around something that I didn't even think about at some point. But if I don't listen to you, all you're going to do is go deeper into your hole, far away from sharing your opinion. And you should not be demonized because I mean, and I'll say this with a lot of love, right? In the last, what, 3 months, I don't know how many ninja games we've gone. So there's a couple of there's a point where people might say, well, I would like to play a game that looks like this, that has a character that I can connect with. There's nothing wrong with that. But the way that it comes across sometimes is very dangerous, and we have to just be aware. We have to be aware enough to just say, what if you are not coming across as evil? What if you mean well? And what if, I mean, some of these people, I'm not going to say their name, but some of these people are in my community today, and they're some of our biggest supporters. Just
Yeah.
because we took a moment to just listen and not make them feel like their only way to communicate is when they say, this freaking sucks and I would never play this game again. I'm going to return it. And then we go and type a message. Oh, sorry, this happened to you. We look like Target doing like a little review
Yep.
on the bottom of a Google review. Why don't we just do that with the good ones, with the ones that are giving us good feedback? But anyway, that's my TED talk. You get where I'm
I
coming
do
from.
I do think that I agree with you on that, but I do think there is a limit. And I think
No,
that
of course, yeah.
online
Yes.
discourse can very quickly go over that limit sometimes, for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I mean, there are some people that are just like, "Hey, I'm upset about this." And I go, "Okay, cool. Let's talk about it." And like if they want to talk about it, that's great. I think that's a really positive thing. I think you can talk out 99% of those issues if someone's being reasonable to have that. They want to have a
Yes,
conversation.
yes,
If
yes.
they just want to be a dick, like there's not really anything you can do at that point,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And that is sad when that happens, but it is,
Hmm.
it's the internet. That's how the internet
Yeah.
works. But
But it's
yeah,
not that bad, at least for the most part. I think when people come and they find a community that's nurtured, and then the
yeah.
community, because I also don't let people like jump on anybody. We don't let that. Like if you show up, you're
Our
talking.
communities
I
are
know
very
I know this sounds
similar.
arrogant, but I actually someone from the community suggested this, and I actually really like it. When you're in a DAU, you're talking to me and
Yeah.
my team. You're not like, if somebody gives, like, let's say Thor goes like, "Oh, I love the insect glaive. I would like for you to be able to, like, stay in the air for like more than 4 seconds. That feels really good." If somebody goes and says, "What a stupid idea, Thor," we instantly like, "No, no, no, no,
So
no, no.
stop
You're
that.
talking to me."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Now you can definitely say, which I think is great, when people, and this is difficult because people are learning how to give good feedback. They're also learning how to interact with each other a lot better. So sometimes they tell each other, "Hey, I know I'm copying your method, right? But I'm
Yeah.
actually talking to Kendall and saying, Kendall, I really don't want you to do this, and here's why." That's a healthy conversation for people to say, the idea that somebody else gave, I don't like it as much, and
Yeah.
here's why. So
I
I
think
just I
that's
wish that more
I
of
think
that
that's
happened.
fantastic that you're teaching people how to give proper feedback with that kind of stuff. I think that's incredibly needed. Incredibly needed. And even if you're doing it in just like, no matter how many people you have in your community, if you're teaching people how to give proper feedback with that, that is phenomenal, dude. Like that's absolutely beneficial to not just to them, but to everyone that they interact with, every game that they ever play, all of that. That's awesome. Yeah.
We sometimes do tiny, like, well, we call them tiny, but they're pretty huge experiments where I've done it recently, only once. When the trailer was coming, we just didn't have the time to do a lot of these DAUs because they take a lot of work from the team to put
Yeah.
together. But we do them at least twice a week. So what we did is we did one that was a design one, and we said, we're gonna have you guys design a weapon that doesn't exist in the game, and I had to put a lot of caveats, like, probably we won't make it, probably won't make it, but I want you to go through the ordeal of making a new weapon. And that's a good one to read, like how people think about, like how simple they think game dev can be. If we could only make it that simple, everyone would be a game dev. But it's
Yep.
part of also demystifying the simplicity, but also saying, but the upper limit of the difficulty is not what you think. So
Yeah.
so it's somewhere in the middle. But people are coming up with the coolest ideas. Like they want some stuff that does like a black hole, and some other stuff that multi-cut. Like somebody wanted us to cut the screen 4 times instead of once, and then make square up.
And then how do you
Really cool
balance that?
ideas. Yeah, but I can only, Ilya can only like drink so much coffee. There's there's
It's
there's a
like,
point where you just
now
can't.
do it for $50 in a week and balance it. Good luck.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And we also,
Uh,
I think this is something that is fair to say. We
so
definitely
funny.
have a limit of what we could do in terms of cost, because
Yeah.
we don't want people to have to pay like $60 for a game. So we have to
Mhm.
stay humble in terms of what we can achieve. Therefore, we have to go lower and lower and lower, and try to keep it simple. So if we can stay between 20-25 bucks for a game that hopefully lasts 10 to 15 to 20 hours, I think that's fair. But if we could do better than that, we shouldn't do it by raising the cost. Now, what people want requires like some people want like adaptive lighting, like they want like stuff like in a pixel art game. Maybe it's not needed, but yeah. Anyway, I mean, I just wanted to show you. I think this is a beautiful experiment. I wish more devs give it a try because it's been foundationally spectacular to us. If you are in this chat and you're joining our Discord to hang out, feel free to necro any of these threads. Some of them in the past are I had to like summarize them because we had a different setup. So I think like anything under 30, like you won't see like an entire it's like a summary that I wrote of everything. But feel free to like ping, and revive anything and give us any feedback. But yeah, I mean it's a very wonderful thing to see. So thank you so much for indulging me in sharing this.
Absolutely.
Sure.
So we are an hour over time. But I think this
Okay.
conversation was absolutely... Yeah, we did this for 4 hours, which is rad. My editor's going to be very mad, but that's fine with me.
I feel bad now. Sorry.
With that in mind, I guess I only have one last question for you, man, and that's how does it feel to be the owner of a Kickstarter with 1,050 followers?
It just feels insane. It's crazy. I mean, knowing that we still have months to go, knowing that we're there now, that we could at least, I mean, that also creates the interesting challenge that we now have to pick a date, which is great. But I think like to me, it's, I mean, I don't think a day ago we had like 425. Making I mean, and you know this because I don't know if you've done one, but hey, you probably know this from your publishing days. One person logging into having a Kickstarter account and then choosing your game is incredibly difficult.
It is, yeah.
I have one post in social media that has over 4-point-something million views. We made something that went really, really viral. That that doesn't convert almost anything into this because remember when people don't know enough about Kickstarter, so when they think about Kickstarter, they think, oh, you're gonna make me like make an account to pay you, and you're gonna take my like. People don't completely understand it, and that's pretty fair. So because of that, the I guess the effort or the barrier of entry is really, really high. So if you are making a Kickstarter or you're making a game, just consider that because it takes a long time to get to 1,000 followers unless you participated in December. But if not, you are gonna take a while because conversion rates are very, very, very low. So yeah, I mean, I guess to answer your question is, it feels great. It's an emotional day for sure because that puts us, further ahead than we thought we would be in terms of time.
Yeah.
And now we can focus on growing that and just making people, giving people the right rewards so that whenever it does happen, they feel like they're actually gaining something of value.
Yeah.
So. Means the world to us, for sure.
That's my entire purpose with Indiecember is to make sure that there's a ton of projects like you guys that just get some breathing room where you don't have to worry about the financial side of it at all.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of this is to get these out to a bunch of different communities, show everything off. So like the idea of getting your Kickstarter to 1,000, that's exactly what this was started for, 100%. It's to show people that. And then also to educate people on what makes an indie game go viral. Like you guys right now, go wishlist this. And I've been saying this for every single game that we cover. If you wishlist this, it teaches Steam, hey, I should show that to more people. The reason why is because Steam's going to make more money off of it. Literally, that's the whole thing. Anytime you think about something going viral, you think about a game getting more visibility on the internet, think about what makes Steam the most money. What makes Steam the most money is selling more copies. Wishlists show it's going to make more copies sold. That's it. That's the whole deal, man. So like wishlisting games pushes that game to more people, 100%. You've had it wishlisted since the OTK event? Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, no, I've had it wishlisted.
There is
I'm down.
To that, I know we're way over, but I think it's really valuable to get a little bit of this. In terms of wishlist, something that I think people should be really aware of. If you want to make a game and you're working on that, wishlist feel very defeated because you're thinking, okay, if I make let's say you need like almost, and you guys probably have talked about this a million times, so I'll go quickly. I think you need like 7,000 wish lists in order to get into popular upcoming whenever your game comes out, which is really important. But then so that's like 2 weeks out, something like that. Then when you release, you want to be in new and trending, which requires about 10,000 wish lists, give or take. These are not sure numbers. We went into ads. But no, don't stop your ads.
What do you make
like, okay. Well, anyway, I guess this is good for game devs because I didn't know. But I think we're gonna. So it's okay.
We'll wait for it.
I love this though. This is such a cool.
He's so powerful.
Look at him go. Oh man, I'm never gonna forget this thing. That's
It's
great.
super funny.
Oh, bases earned money back. That's such a good. That's a good.
Yeah, he did.
That's a good one.
I'm just sick of ads, dude. As we leave the ads, I'm just sick of like just a trailer. Like I want to see more. I want to get to meet the devs and like learn a whole bunch of
Yeah,
stuff, you know. And I think this format
for sure.
works really well. I think it's been awesome. So
That's super cool and it's definitely helpful. I'm sure like next time you'll have a lot more people. So sorting through all of them will probably be very difficult to figure out. But I don't envy you picking picking enough of these games to show. So
honestly,
I
we
don't
we
envy
have the
it. But
same kind of a experience going through the game jams. So like we're already doing this. Like we're on our 18th game jam now, dude. So like yeah, you know, it's the same deal. We're just sifting through a million games.
for sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm pretty
But
excited to
yeah,
keep going though.
I've kept you enough. So thank you so very much for the opportunity.
Yeah,
I think
dude.
like to kind of close it off, like it's a there's a lot of people out there making games like just as spectacular or even more than what we're making. So, we try our best in our social media to share some of them when we can. It's very difficult because, algorithms and all they're just kind of crazy right now too. So any opportunity that you see some indie studio trying to like share their game, it's inevitably going to feel a little bit like marketing and it's going to feel like they're just trying to put their game in your face. But I think like if I could ask for something just to general public, it's like
Sure.
remember the that that analogy, like we're just a bunch of fathers trying to provide for our children. So it's gonna require a little bit of like going in there and trying your best to share your thing. So I know some indies like they share their trailer all the time and people kind of resent that, but they're just doing their best. So lots of love to you guys for the opportunity, and we it means a lot to us. So if there's anything we can do, the ferret's in there, so that's at least a forever thing. But if there's anything else we could do to help you guys or any other indie game out that shows up here, let us know. We're happy to
Yeah. And
support
if you
for
guys
sure.
find anything that's really cool, let me know. Because like what we do every day is people will send in TTS messages and they're like, "Hey, have you seen this game?" And we just pull it up and like look at it. So like if you got anything you want to send me, so I can show it to people, do it up.
Yeah, that's awesome. We
Yeah.
definitely will have more to show probably after like probably beginning of January
Hmm.
or maybe well sorry end of January beginning of February. We have to get ready for Kickstarter. Our current goal to get people like an idea of time so that they know what's going on. It's probably we're trying to do something around maybe late March is the current goal. 3 months to actually run a Kickstarter campaign is impossible. People ask for a year, but we don't have that kind of funding to be here for another year. So we might do something in March. But if we could get a little bit more of energy behind the game, uh, we might push it a little bit closer to June to give the Kickstarter a better shot. But I
Yeah.
mean, we're already at 1,000, so I think we're in line to at least start the all the promotion and finding all the providers and all that stuff to deliver what you guys want. A lot of people want physical stuff that's really expensive, so I gotta go find all that stuff. But yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity, and it's life changing. We hope that we never thought we would be 6 months out, 70,000 wish list. Like it's just insane. It just feels surreal. So thank you for sure.
Well, you guys are gonna do awesome. And if you need anything, just let us know. And it was lovely talking to you today. So thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. You guys have a good one, and together we're mighty. Keep it up. So thank you for what you're doing.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
one, dude. Bye.
Have a good one, man. Bye bye.